Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It is February 9th, 2022.
Yeah.
This is our 180, how many episodes? 182? What?
It's around there. There's a few kind of lost episodes, but yes, it's in the 180s.
Where's the money? Oh my God, we're at 190 episodes.
Is this 190?
Yeah, where's the money, Joseph? You said we were start making money by like episode 20.
Well, I don't know if you've checked your wallet lately, but I've been depositing several hundred YSGOAT coins weekly, and I don't know if you've checked the markets lately, but it's
worth about 6 goat balls.
Yeah, right.
We're
in a bull market.
Bullshit market. We're in a bullshit market. Yes. All right. Well, I know we have our audience in Czechoslovakia, right?
Yes.
No, Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
Any other countries like us?
Yeah, we've always done well. I mean, obviously, the United States has always been the biggest, and then Canada, England, Germany, and then a lot of like Central Europe. Every once in a while we'll pop up, like it'll be weird, we'll have like a bunch of episodes downloaded in China or Japan, or and we do have them downloaded occasionally in like Russia and stuff, but no, it's we're
what is this?
I would say when we
was doing a Russian impression
when we started doing more current events than like older movies, the audience shifted more to the US, to English speaking countries, like that were interested in American politics. And when I do see stuff like, oh, we just got a whole bunch of downloads from like an old episode, those are the ones where you see them mostly like overseas, where people are like looking up a weird movie.
They just thought they were stealing an episode of they thought they were stealing Fight Club, like they were downloading
right, like they were actually downloading,
excited to watch it, and instead they heard us talking and they were like,
yeah,
what is this shit?
So if you see a stray like bad review on Rotten Tomatoes from a foreign critic, it could be that they just
the cinematography sucked.
Inadvertently downloaded one of our podcasts and were like, I thought Fight Club was a film, not an audio drama. I think.
Yeah, an audio drama. That's what I would call it. Ours.
So,
right, well, where is the money, Joseph? We're gonna have to figure this out. There's other I mean, I know we did like a Patreon for a while, but we didn't really get invited. But I think people should just send us money.
Put a
Do you remember
what
Soupy said? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
People just drop
jar.
Stuff in.
Yeah, tip jar. Hey, you know what? Remember Soupy Sales?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was great.
Do you know what did him in?
Was it when his 2 kids joined that band with David Bowie?
Oh, is that what happened?
Well, yeah, his children, both his children joined. They were the rhythm section of Tin Machine, David Bowie's rock band.
Soupy Sales?
Yeah, his kids.
Oh, I didn't know that. I heard the thing that got him canceled from TV was one episode. He told kids to put money in a envelope and send it to him.
Oh, really?
And supposedly it got him canceled. And I think like maybe like 2 kids sent him money or something. But he said, go to your parents' wallet, take money out, and mail it to this address. Could be I could be parlaying it wrong. I'm sure if you guys want to use the old Google machine.
Yeah, right.
Soupy Sales telling children to send him money.
Well, I did, as we were talking, I wanted to fact check myself. And Soupy Sales' kids were the rhythm section of that David Bowie band. They put out 2 albums with him.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they look like rock stars too. They don't look like Soupy Sales.
Who just look like a I don't know. Last thing I saw him, like, he just looks like a poor man's Dick Van Dyke or something.
In my head, Soupy Sales, when I like try to pull him up from my mental Rolodex, I just get a picture of Bob Denver. So that's
oh yeah, a little bit of that. I also picture like an Archie character because I know like there'd be like they would make like comics and like they had a comic with like Don Rickles, which was just like a comic book filled with like racist jokes, you know. It was the 50s. They were cool with it back then, you know. They had no scruples back then.
Yes,
This is normal.
They were
I'm kidding.
savages.
I don't think they had. So
okay, so Soupy, is there a link between Soupy Sales and what we were going to talk about first?
Sure. Well, just like a kids show host telling people to put money in a wallet, in an envelope to send to him. This congresswoman, let's see if we can link this. Come on, Joseph, help me.
Well, I thought because she called Nancy Pelosi's secret police force the gazpacho, which is a soup.
Oh,
I thought that's where you were going.
Yeah, you said, I'm just not.
I thought you were
quick-witted as you. I didn't even pick up that the soup. Because his name's Soupy.
Right. I was like, clearly he's bringing up Soupy Sales.
I honestly just thought about Soupy Sales because you said send us money, and I know that story about he lost his job.
Oh yeah, I misread that.
This was a deep cut.
I was waiting for some sort of tightrope act.
There was a kid show host named Gazpacho Pete, and that would tie in. No, it's just a dumb coincidence.
Right.
You try to make me feel like very clever.
I was waiting for it to sink, like.
Yeah, ladling it in. That's
there you go. So
okay, so real quick, just to get this out of the way before we get into everything.
Yeah.
I saw a video. I could probably just play it. A video of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Can you tell while I'm looking that up? Can you tell everyone who Marjorie Taylor Greene is?
Yeah, she's a congressperson from a district in Georgia, and she got elected recently, and she's got a long, terrible history of just being awful. She was the one who harassed the Parkland shooting victims.
Harasses AOC like every day.
She's the one who believes that a Jewish space laser is controlling the weather or something. These are like actual things she said. I mean, none of this is like exaggerated or misreadings or anything. I mean, she's and she sounds dumb as a stick. I mean, she is.
She battles Lauren Boebert on Who'll Be Dumber that day.
There's so many to choose from. Like Louis Gohmert was trending the other. Louis Gohmert used to be the gold standard of dumb. And now
standard.
Yeah. Now he's like really gotta.
He's got to work a little harder,
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me just play this real quick.
Yeah.
Not only do we have the DC jail, which is the DC gulag, but now we have Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police spying on the legislative work that we do.
I kind of wish she said the DC goulash. Instead of DC gulag, the goulash and the gazpacho.
This is like, I don't even know what the writers at SNL do. When they sit down.
They don't do anything. They don't do anything anymore. What they do is they just go on Twitter and they steal every joke that people make, and then they go like they've gotten accused of it, but that's for a different podcast.
Well, I remember when Sarah Palin did her thing. Tina Fey basically just literally repeated what she said, and that was the joke. I mean, you didn't
crazy.
Have to
do anything.
No.
The new guy on SNL who does Trump is like, it's scary good.
Yeah.
Because what he does is Alec Baldwin would just mug at the camera,
right? Yeah.
And it was funny.
It was good.
It was but it was very like on topic of what was going on in his presidency, and and it was just like he's an asshole. We get it.
Yeah.
This new guy they got, they literally pulled him from like Twitter. He's the guy who used to like walk down the street and do like the amazing Trump impression. He also does an incredible Joe Biden impression. Like he actually only person that actually nailed Joe Biden is like he's this new cast member they have, and he does Trump. And what he does with Trump is he plays up on like Trump's clearly apparent ADHD, where he can't stay on topic and he just rambles and goes on about things that have nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And he does like, you gotta see this guy. It's like the funniest 2 minutes you'll watch because it's like, you know, I'm like, is he helping Trump? Is he elevating? I'm like, no, because I think if anything, he's like telling people like this guy is mentally incapable.
Yeah, unhinged.
Like he cannot. This guy does such a like his voice. He nails like his cadence down.
Mm.
Like I'll blow one. His impression is like my shitty ass impression.
Yeah,
you know, it's like it's not.
Right.
This guy nails it. Like he gets like his Queen's accent down, and like I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is like gazpacho police. I mean, the tyranny of cold soup.
Well, it's just, I mean, there's just so much with them. I mean, they're constantly going batshit crazy, like dumb crazy dumb. You know,
she's there. You know, can't people like that who get elected? Those are the people she's put in place to literally make sure nothing gets done.
Yeah, you wonder like her district could use some help.
Yeah,
you know,
she's there to make sure. Same thing like Bober or Carthon or any of these people that they're there to basically be distractions that eat up, suck all the oxygen in the room, get on the news, try to shift the conversation to some bullshit like gazpacho police and gulags and goulash.
Yeah. Well, look,
they're not there to like actually serve the people. They're there like they're like a corporation. Those have to be like corporations, like polluters and something. Those are their favorite politicians.
Well, I used to work in Central Florida, and you're right. These people. I used to work in this town that voted overwhelmingly Republican, and I'm still in a Facebook group where they talk about their lives and issues, whatever. They're all bitching that they don't have good internet, you know, and it's true. The internet out there sucks. Cell phone coverage sucks. All the infrastructure sucks, and they keep on electing people whose only goal is to own the libs.
Yeah,
you know. They and if someone went in there and gave them a stump speech, it's like, you know, I want to install rural broadband, they'd be like thrown out of the civic center as a socialist, you know.
Tommy. Yeah, even though they're there to like be like, hey asshole, you can now go like see QAnon theories even quicker.
Right. You can
I'm helping you. I'm trying to get you better access to more conspiracy theories.
You can stream Joe Rogan instead of having to download it, you know?
I mean, they literally run on just owning the libs. Like, I remember, like, in the 2020 election, like, Donald Trump Jr., in, like, one of the speeches, he literally just, like, that was, like, the only reason for people to vote for his dad, was literally just own the libs. He literally said that, own the libs. And I was like, so... I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about this. I don't even know what the fuck she was talking about, but it's just like, it's just funny. I mean, it's another funny thing coming out of this hideous monster, this ghoul that we have to deal with. But isn't it true that Madison Cawthorn might not be able to run for Congress?
Yeah, there's a legitimate effort to prevent him from running. And due to some sort of weird quirk of North Carolina law, and this stems back from the Civil War and everything.
Because he participated in January 6th?
Yeah. If you commit sedition, then you can't run. And
that's what I said about like any one of these people from January 6th that like were really participating in it.
But in other states, the law is a little different. In North Carolina, you have to prove you didn't. It's not like normal. Like normally, I would have to prove that you did, but that's not how it is.
He went on stage and gave a speech wearing like a bulletproof vest type thing.
Yeah.
In front of the crowd before they marched to the Capitol. They had that little fucking
pre-game show.
Yeah. Did you hear about fucking Giuliani on fucking the Masked Singer.
Yeah.
We get that real quick.
Yeah.
Supposedly, did we talk about this last week?
I'm wondering if we did or if we just texted each other about it.
I don't think this came out yet. I think this came out after we did our episode.
Well,
whatever. Supposedly, Robin Thicke, is that his name?
Robin Thicke, yeah.
And what's the other guy's name? The guy from like The Hangover?
I forget. He's the guy from Community too, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know his name at all.
Yeah, they both walked off the set. They left.
Yeah.
When they saw him, they left. I guess they don't know who these people are under the mask. I always assumed they knew because it's so obvious.
Yeah, I would have thought they did too, but
because anytime they would make, this is like that show, is they would always make these, like, I watched like the first season too, and they would make these like ridiculous, like for any of the ones in the beginning, they'd be like, you're this person. They would pick these stars and like, you're never getting these people on your show. They'll get like big name acts, but then it's nobody like doing currently anything big.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like an old 70s star or whatever. But like Giuliani, what the fuck? That guy's like, this isn't like, he's so repulsive and everything to do with 2020. You can't try to normalize him by making him like funny and a meme. Like
they do that with all these
shows. They're ashamed of themselves.
There is. I mean, I don't know the mechanics of it, but there is clearly a sympathy for right-wing politicians in that industry. Because
Sarah Palin was there. She was like in one episode also. She was there the night, and literally after she performed, and like she did like Baby Got Back or whatever.
Yeah.
And literally that night, that's when like Trump, they did the announcement on TV and everything about COVID and how they're gonna have to start shutting things down. She was like Nero's fiddle or some shit.
Well,
like, I was like, what the fuck is Giuliani? Like, I don't know if it aired yet, the Giuliani thing, but like, because they
Dancing with the Stars has right-wing politicians
always. I mean, they had Tom DeLay, they had fucking
Rick Perry,
they had
Tucker Carlson.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did. They had fucking, what's his name? Trump's like former press secretary.
Yep, Sean Spicer.
Yeah.
They had
I'm sure there's a couple more. Oh, Sarah Palin's daughter.
Yep, Bristol Palin.
Yeah.
They've had all of them, and not that I don't mind that they don't, but they've had zero like left-leaning persons.
You know why?
Because
those left-leaning people would never do it.
Yeah,
and they're probably not, and they're not invited. So.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it would not stun me. I would bet that next year we see Tulsi on there or something.
I could totally see her being on it. Yeah.
Yep. I can see them doing.
Progressive.
Yeah. Maybe like an Andrew Yang. They should hit.
I can totally see him. He's such a grifter.
Yep, he would.
But like I said, the Giuliani thing is just like, read the room, man. Like, this isn't 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like this Giuliani is like a goblin. Like he's always sucked. But this current iteration, you can't normalize this version of Giuliani.
No.
Like, this isn't like, I mean, this fucking guy, like what was it? What was it? He gave the press conference in front of like a
total 4 seasons lawn care.
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
the fucking hand in his pants in Borat too.
Yeah, I mean,
he's caught like vowing to do something creepy in front of a girl. Like,
he's like sweating brown shoe polish and stuff.
Yeah,
and like,
this is like, this guy belongs in jail. He shouldn't be like making it into a cute meme or what. So whatever. Okay. I guess let's get into, what are we going to talk about before we?
Well, we're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho, and then we're going to talk the finale of the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
We're going to talk about 2 topics that I think are somewhat related: blue states beginning to rescind mask mandates, and Mitch McConnell and Pence seemingly turning on Trump. We're talking about a weird story out of Florida, a Florida voter registration switch, where it looks like an organized effort by the Republican Party to hit up seniors and change their party affiliation without them knowing it.
Oh, that wouldn't shock me one bit.
And there's video I mean, there's actual video of that's pretty damning. And then we're talking about Trump's new video, which is amazing. A recent spate of anti-trans laws that kind of, it didn't begin in Florida, but that's where it got a lot of traction most recently. Joe Rogan's weird
Planet of the Apes apology.
God, yeah. And then we're going to finish up with the talk about crypto, NFTs, Eric Andre's NFT, and
that couple that got arrested or whatever.
Two boneheads that got arrested for trying to launder $3.5 billion worth of BitMuffins.
So, I mean, is that even real money?
BitMuffins?
No, the thing that they tried laundering. I mean,
yeah. Well, yes, the money they tried to launder is real because they took the Bitcoin and started converting it to US dollars. And that's
there you go. So then they made it real money.
Yes.
That's where the crime came in.
That's where the crime came in. It's all fun and games until you convert it to fiat.
Try to actually cash out and make it reality.
Right.
That's when the IRS shows up and goes, "Hey, we just saw that you you just made a $1 million transaction transfer."
We noticed that your balance for the last 17 years has hovered around $300, and in November it was hovering at like 2.6 mil. So we would like to talk about.
You might be getting a letter from us.
We'd like to talk about that. We'd like to. So, all right. So, first and foremost, I guess we both watched episode 7 of the Book of Boba Fett. I loved it.
Series season finale. I don't know if they're going to make more. I don't know.
The ending made it seem like we were going to get a season 2 that was basically Boba Fett and the Wookiee and the Scooter Kids.
Kids.
And maybe the Marshal, that we'd get a Tatooine.
Yeah, that was weird. That spoilers.
Yes.
Let's just get this out of the way. Like, he's not in the episode because in the last episode, the Marshal got shot by Cad Bane, but we knew he didn't get killed.
Right.
But the cut scene, which I thought the end credit scene, whatever, I thought was kind of weak. I would have preferred something else, but it was like Thundercat again, that musician guy who's in it, and he's
the modifier.
The modifier. He's sitting by a Bacta tank. What is it called?
Bacta tank.
Yeah, and it's clearly. At first, I'm like, "Who the fuck is that?" Like, oh, it's the Marshal.
Yeah,
in there, and it's like, I'm like, is that really a worthy like a worthy stinger?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I didn't think it was like. I'm like, I don't know. Who cares? Like,
right.
I like the character, but if he died, I wouldn't have been like, oh no, not the Marshal.
Right.
Like, this isn't like Bib Fortuna getting killed or Max Rebo. This is like or Jennifer Beals cleavage or anything like that.
Well, yeah, I thought that would have been like, look, they clearly wanted to elicit a gasp, and the Marshal being alive, I was like, oh, good, I'm glad, but like.
I'm like, that's the credit scene? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, how about or a scene with the Pikes showing back up to the Syndicate, and we find out who's really running the Syndicate.
Right. The Pikes report back to Darth Maul or something.
Darth Maul or Captain Kirk or Thanos.
Heather Morgan.
Heather Morgan, the woman, the crypto grifting rapper.
No, right, and yeah, but
and they'll be like, looks like, and the last line would be or whatever villain, where it would be like, I guess I'll have to have a meeting with this Boba Fett. What is he called? Major Domo? What is he?
Diamu or something, I think. It's something like that.
Never mind.
Mr. Roboto. It was an odd ending. I thought the ending to me said that, okay, you know where the Mandalorian's going, right? So you got Mandalorian back with Grogu, and he's going to have adventures on his show, season 3 of The Mandalorian. And then I thought that the other ending was that you would have the Boba Fett and his team kind of patrolling the streets of Tatooine, and that would be kind of the replacement for the Cara Dune spinoff that we were going to get. It's now going to be this.
Yeah, the QAnon hero.
Yeah. And then I thought the Fennec Shand stuff was kind of interesting because I couldn't tell if they were saying like you may have a spinoff of just her like assassinating people, which would be kind of like,
I don't think that would be I think she works good on that show or showing up on. Yeah, I don't know, like just something like, or maybe like a reveal that like some of the Tusken Raiders are still alive, maybe.
Yeah, that just sort of went nowhere.
Something more tied to the show. Like the Marshal's cool, but like to me, he was just in one episode of Mandalorian. He wasn't in an episode of Book of Boba Fett. So I just think it's like an odd, just an odd slapped in and after credit scene that I just didn't was that like compelling. Like, well, I was like, was there another one? Did they have like a second one or something? I didn't fast forward enough. I don't think they did.
No, I don't think so. I'm confident they didn't because I let the thing play out. But I don't know. I thought it set up the next season of I thought to me it seemed like we're getting a season 2 of Book of Boba Fett.
I mean, it seems like it could be. I don't know. Like I said, that's one of my own complaints. I guess the other complaints are okay. So the problem with this show is that you had 7 episodes, but the 2 episodes before the season finale of your show with your main hero did not focus on him at all and ended up just being like a weird Mandalorian season 2.5 or like mini-sode, or like it like tied in a little bit in the last episode. I mean, you literally saw Boba Fett for like 2 seconds in the last episode. And I just feel like it robbed the narrative. Like, I know some people hated it or whatever. I think people just want to hate on shit.
Yeah.
Like they always do. But like I said, I think Boba Fett, Mandalorian's a different character. He's a blank slate and he's easy to deal with. Boba Fett has an expectation that people have that like cannot be met you're not going to meet people's like odd expectations of some things. Like they're just never going to happen. Like, it's not the tattoo on their left shoulder. It's
I think my concern, and I think it's kind of similar to what you're saying, is that like, okay, I know we had some flashbacks with the Tusken Raiders, and that shows like how Boba Fett, like, I don't know, kind of turned a corner or whatever. But
and he learned like he needed a tribe, basically.
Yeah. But the Boba Fett we met in the first episode, and actually the Boba Fett that we met kind of towards the end of The Mandalorian last year, is basically the same Boba Fett we got at the last scene of this season. I mean, like the character didn't change or grow that much. Not really. All the growth was implied through flashback.
Yeah, from him getting out of the Sarlacc pit and being taken in by the Tusken Raiders. That's where most of his growth is. But like, I mean, you didn't really know where he was mentally 100% yet in Mandalorian when he showed up. You just knew that, like, okay, we thought maybe that he was going to be like a villain to Mandalorian, and if anything, they're just great allies. Like they're going to team up anytime and be buddies. And if they ever got into a fight, it would feel forced. Like they were like, we need to make them fight over something stupid, or we would just seem very dumb and contrived. And I just think that, like, I think just having those 2 episodes robbed because, like, okay, if you're gonna call the show, like, the show's called The Mandalorian, right? It's just literally The Mandalorian. It's called The Book of the Mandalorian. It's just like a show, but then you have a special series that you announce called The Book of Boba Fett,
right?
And it's like, okay, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be like 6 episodes, I thought, and it was going to just focus on Boba Fett and his story. Maybe we learned some stuff about his past. Maybe I thought we'd see like a flashback, like pre-Empire flashback of him.
Yeah.
I figured, will the Mandalorian show up in the show? Yeah, maybe. To help him out on something, he might show up for an episode or whatever. But you get like this 4 episodes, lots of details, and like the end of the 4th episode, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're done with the Bacta tank." So I guess flashbacks, and you find out like okay, he gets accepted into like the tribe. We learn that like, the Tuscans aren't these like just straight up savages that we see
Right.
in like New Hope. They're even in Mandalorian they explained it like they're people like
Yeah.
not these like they worked with Mandalorian in that episode when they fought that dragon thing.
Yeah.
And in this one, like they developed this tribe so much, and it felt like there was going to be more to it.
Yeah, a payoff.
And there
or
was
something.
like that woman warrior that kicked his ass a bunch of times. There was the kid that he clearly like. It's like the kid's almost like his baby Yoda type thing, and it's like he goes to town. It feels like he went to town like the next day after he swallowed that lizard and fucking licked a toad and got all tripped out. But it wasn't. You're told that like no, he was with like the Tusken Raiders for like 5 years, but they didn't do a good job of like really
the pacing was all
pacing
wrong.
it like because it's just like I would say from what I gather it was like a few months, like I think like a couple more scenes with like even if they're not Baka Tank fucking induced flashbacks, but like scenes that would tie in and then you're introduced to this villain, Cad Bane, and like like true like Star Wars, not even true Star Wars nerds, but like I would say younger Star Wars nerds or whatever, like kids who grew up on Clone Wars, they're gonna know who this character is. And he's an awesome looking character. He's got a cool voice. Like someone said he's like a fucked up Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
I would say, have you seen Clint Eastwood? Like he's a fucked up Clint Eastwood arguing with a chair.
Right.
That was weird.
That was like super weird. At the RNC a few years
I was like,
back.
it took 2 minutes to me to realize like, oh, you're arguing with the empty chair, that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't work, buddy. You sound like a doddering old fool. So you meet Cad Bane in the last episode. He shoots the marshal. And, if you know who the character is and something like that, he has ties to Boba Fett.
Right.
And they mentioned in the last episode, because they confront each other and have like a duel or whatever. And it's cool. But like as the audience of watching this specific show, the Book of Boba Fett, if you're like, I've never watched the Clone Wars before.
Yeah.
I've watched Empire. I like Boba Fett. I have like a toy or whatever. I remember grew up with it. I'm going to watch this. And you're like, I have no idea who this looking blue cowboy is. He's cool looking, but right. He has a past with Boba Fett, I guess. I don't know. I feel like, again, taking the real estate away and giving 2 episodes completely to Mandalorian and Grogu and Luke Skywalker, which is crazy. It was awesome. It's the last thing I ever thought I would have seen, though, in the Book of Boba Fett was Luke Skywalker training Grogu for a whole episode.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I loved it, but it's not what I kind of expected. It's not really what I thought the show needed.
It works, but it doesn't work if you're telling me like, okay, how about this? You do 6 episodes. Like if you just wanted to have a break after that 4th episode of the Book of Boba Fett. And you're like, hey, we're at a good landing spot. We're gonna do 2 episodes that they're part of the series, but like they're kind of their own thing. And then we're gonna do 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett, we're gonna bring the narrative back to Boba Fett in episode 7, and then episode 8 is the finale. In episode 7, you get an episode where, okay, so 6 ends with Cad Bane shooting the marshal, and you're meeting this character first time. 7 would have been a perfect episode to make it like literally all different kinds of flashbacks of like Boba Fett meeting Cad Bane or working with Cad Bane when he's younger, and Cad Bane giving him advice about being a bounty hunter or whatever, being like what, not to trust people or not to do this, you have to be more cunning, whatever it is. Little things like that. So there's more of an emotional payoff in the next episode. And then you also maybe do some flashbacks showing maybe another flashback or 2 of Boba Fett with the tribe, showing how he was with them for all those times, showing him out on like a mission with them. And it's years later. He could literally go, I've been with you guys for like 4 years now, And then we'll go, like or whatever, like just a line, whatever. It's all you got. It's all you need. You don't have to make it too crazy. And then you could also show scenes of like the Pikes, like getting, doing shit, like setting up tension. And then
a rising tension there.
Yeah. And you do that, you have that episode 7 be a setup, and then you get that also that set up Cad Bane being like this big villain. You build him up. You make that battle even more important in the end between Boba Fett. Because what I like about Cad Bane, what he represents versus Boba Fett, it's like they do a good job in the beginning. Like in the first episode or 2, Boba Fett gets his helmet knocked over with the money falling out.
Yeah.
It's shot similar to like when he sees his father's head cut off.
Yep.
By Mace Windu, his head cut off, and like showing that like his dad took a bad job with like bad people, and that's why he's dead.
Right. Yeah.
And if Boba Fett continues down that path, he'll be killed at some point. I mean, he literally was swallowed up by a desert anus.
Yeah.
Puckered tooth desert anus, and he came out of it alive. So he's literally reborn. And it's like that's what the show's about. It's like the show's supposed to be about like him. He gets taken in by the Tusken Raiders and learns that you can't be this like self-serving piece of shit. You have to like, community.
Be part of a community. Yeah.
Yeah. Ken Jeong. That's it. That's his name.
Oh yeah.
Ken Jeong. Thank you. Community.
Right. Yes.
Call back from a little earlier. And you bring all that stuff up, and Cad Bane represents the worst end of Boba Fett, because Cad Bane, the joke is people are like, how old is this motherfucker? Because he was already old when you meet him. This guy, and he even brings it up, but he's still fast. But you can tell like, he doesn't walk as fast.
Right.
He's an older dude. He's doing this. He's still like, he probably has like no ties to anyone, whatever. He's just like self-serving guy who just will take money from anyone and do jobs. And it's like, you build that up and like, this is what you could be.
Right.
And it's almost like you're confronting your like worst self in the end. They kind of do it, but you just need like a couple of like scenes, a flashback or two showing like, and I know they want to like, okay, we saved Cad Bane for like the 6th episode. Okay, but now you do a 7th episode where you build them up. And this was like kind of like my critique too of like Kingpin showing up in Hawkeye.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Well, the Kingpin just kind of like, yeah, it's awesome. It's a Kingpin, but like he wasn't really any of the episodes. Like you just saw his hand. There's a bunch of cutscenes on Hawkeye, actually. I don't know where you could find them. I don't know if they're on Disney Plus, but I watched them online. There was a bunch of awesome. They show him. They actually show a scene with him and the young Echo. And there's like scenes of like Hawkeye where his mom was like using for like cons. Like he basically did like criminal stuff with his mom. Yeah. Which would have been like great origin shit. I'm like, why did you cut that stuff out? What? So we could have the wacky LARPers, like, so I feel like, I wonder if there's like a bunch of cutscenes from this Boba Fett thing. I feel like
it's interesting.
It's just, it's such an odd choice. Like, yeah, we got these 2 amazing episodes with like Mandalorian, like so well done. Like when gets his leg hurt and you just see that continuous shot. It was a continuous shot, and it looked so good. It was such a good episode. And then that last episode, like this freaking insanely crazy deep fake Luke training Grogu, which I didn't think we'd ever see. And they're awesome, but I also feel like we were kind of robbed of a
Boba Fett show,
dramatic. Like I know people complain about the show or something like that, but I think like a solid episode that ties in Cad Bane to Boba Fett, because there is the history. Like, fine, yes. Did some people, are they in the comics or books or cartoons? Yeah, but that's not how that kind of media, that's all superfluous shit. You have to always treat the movie and the TV show as the true canon.
Yeah, right.
Fucking comics, like, yeah, it's cool. They brought in Black Krrsantan,
Krrsantan, I think.
Yeah, like they brought him in from the comics, and like, they didn't like make it completely 100%, but he is that character.
He's that character, yeah.
He doesn't talk though, really. He's like,
True.
you know. And it's just, I don't know. That's my only complaint. Like the episode was amazing.
It was really good.
Rancor was like crazy.
Really
Rancor.
good.
I love the Empire State Building reference.
Oh yeah, like it was basically a King Kong scene.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. Grogu calming down the Rancor.
Yep. Yeah.
The Rancor trying to bite the Mandalorian's head off.
That was
really fucking funny.
Yeah.
Grogu passing out next to the Rancor sleeping. You know what? That Rancor is adorable.
It really is, and I
like it's like a pit bull. It's like a bulldog.
I like the backstory that Machete gave about the Rancor, how they bond with someone and they're not necessarily violent. They're just sort of, and that gave it kind of a King Kong aspect. To be honest,
I mean, it's like they don't belong in this environment,
right?
They probably belong in whatever fucking environment they're from. I mean, that was so good. Like, I love that there was like a mini Strangers with Candy reunion in the show. I didn't realize it. The guy who plays like I don't know what is he? The Pre-Vizsla, whatever. The guy who's like, the mods, they captured him.
Oh yeah.
Escaping, the guy who works for the mayor.
Yeah.
He kind of ended up working with them. I love this whole backstory he's talking about.
Right, like, growing up on Coruscant.
He's like, why do you come from a rich family? He's like trying to play it down.
Yeah.
Like, his accent is like, he plays it down. It's just such a funny. And Boba Fett, I love it. He's like, okay, I'll do that. Let me read these down. And then he reads it out loud. It's so fun. That's probably like one of the best scenes in the whole thing. But Amy Sedaris shows up again. She's in the last episode. She shows up in this one. She's great. I love how she like gets a fucking tooth knocked out. You see it, like, But she meets him for the first time, and she's like hitting on him. It's really funny. But did you ever watch Strangers with Candy?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you remember him? His character?
I don't
know how many episodes he's in. He's in a lot of them. So like the whole joke was that she's like went to jail or something. She's out and she's like going to high school. She's like 49 or something like that. But like her dad is like this catatonic, like he's in a catatonic state, he's like an old man, and he married this like younger woman. Yeah, who's probably younger than Amy Sedaris' character. So she has like that woman has like a weird affair or whatever with that guy, with that actor who plays that one. He was like a butcher or something. He was like the meat man. He always had meat. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember any of this.
Oh, man.
I watched Strangers with Candy. It wasn't like my favorite show or anything. That was
a
while ago too.
We watched it a bunch of times.
Wasn't that on around like shortly after The State?
After The State. It's like 2000. It's like 5 years later.
Right.
It was like late 90s, early 2000s. It had like Stephen Colbert and everything, like pre-Daily Show.
Okay. Because I've rewatched episodes of The State, which I loved and I watched a lot. And there's tons of it. I never remembered, you know. I mean, I basically only remember a few.
Porcupine Racetrack.
I just remember. I don't.
It's like a full-on play. They make like a full-on Broadway play of Porcupine Racetrack.
Jeez.
Porcupine Racetrack. But yeah, Amy Sedaris has like a mini reunion. I'm like, two actors from freaking Strangers with Candy on the show. It's just crazy. Like a Grogu showing up in an X-Wing.
That was awesome.
It was like the X-Wing shows up. She's freaking out, of course.
Yeah.
She does all kinds of shady shit. And the X-Wing is like a cop car, the equivalent of
basically, yeah.
And we're like, oh my God, Luke's going to be in this episode.
I thought,
too much. I'm like, no, you can't. I was thinking about this. The only reason why Luke works 100% in that episode really well is because the only other thing that he interacts, except for like one scene he has with Ahsoka. Yeah. He interacts with a puppet the entire time.
Yeah. He does have a pretty lengthy scene with Ahsoka, but you're right. It's primarily him and the puppet.
And I think that's why it works so well, because he's just like...
That's funny, yeah.
But I was like, no, they're not going to bring him in. That's like too much. Like, that's crazy. But then, no. Grogu and the fucking X-Wing. Like R2 flew. I'm like, dude, Luke is gonna be like that little green fuck.
Put him in put him in his dumb shirt in the X-Wing and get him out of here. Well, I don't know.
That scene was so fucking funny. Like when he came out and then she gives him like the worm and
Worms.
eating the worm. He's like, well, he was like, is it me or was he even cuter in these 2 episodes?
Yeah, he was.
Like, did they make that puppet even better?
Well, I don't know if they changed the puppet, but I will say they've like the character has changed. You know, now he's a little more right.
The fucking funniest thing.
Right like, when we saw him, remember they went into that ice planet and he kept eating that poor like frog lady's eggs.
Yeah,
that's when he started turning like into a mischievous. And now that's kind of his shtick. Is he's like,
when he was banging the ball on the window, like, dude, you're gonna break that window and you're gonna fly into space. Like, it's not made. You're literally in a separate compartment. Like,
yeah,
like that was the funniest scene. But like him, like taking out the robot, and he's just like, and then calming the fucking Rancor down, and then passing out and sleeping next to it. I was like, oh, this is too adorable.
It was. He was great. I love seeing it. I don't. I mean, it was fine the way it was, but like their reunion was so rushed because like I was expecting Grogu to come in at the very end of this episode. Well, and for it to be a big emotional thing, but it really wasn't.
He shows up and it's like the worst time. The Amy Sedaris shows up in that cab or whatever. And like, that's what I have. And he's like, it's actually really funny. He's the last thing that like. But he ends up being a huge help. It's just he's the last thing that like he's like, what? Like he couldn't have come at a worse fucking time.
Yeah.
The show, it was so good. I know there's people who are gonna rip it apart. Like this is like it's like the Book of Boba Fett, regardless of what you think. It's like, okay, what did you get in the Book of Boba Fett? You got to see the fucking insane scene of him breaking out of the fucking Sarlacc pit. You got to see him. I don't care what anyone says. I know it was like really stupid him going back to the Sarlacc pit. Like you don't remember you were wearing it. I guess his brain was fucked up, thinking that it was still in there. And the ship. Someone made a joke though and said that like is Lando the most powerful person in the galaxy because like if you remember in Return of the Jedi, the Sarlacc pit's tentacle grabs Lando. They have to save him, and Han like shoots the leg. He's still like blind. That's why it's like you blind at the
Yeah.
But like Lando's fighting it, but like the Sarlacc pit is literally pulling in the Slave One or fire spray ship into its body. Like, I mean, so I was like, let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. You got to see Black Kristan. You got the huts. That fucking scene with the huts was like one of the best.
Oh yeah.
When they show up with the drones and like you got to see
Luke Skywalker.
Again the Luke thing.
Yep.
Ahsoka, Mandalorian, those episodes, the Tusken tribe, more developing those characters, making them interesting. Maybe in season 2, hopefully what they do, if they have a season 2, I don't know if they will. I have no idea. Maybe they'll have more like flashbacks to his time with the Tusken Raiders, and maybe again, I kind of hope some of those characters survive. I think I that one character is like it's a waste to have her just get killed. The one that kind of like trained him to fight.
They never really did anything.
I like that he overcomes Cad Bane with the Tusken Raider move
and with the weapon, the Tusken weapon. Yeah.
Again, like I said, I just feel like one more episode would I mean it's like the pacing in this episode though it is good. It's like it's rushed, but like everything moves, I don't know. I liked it. It's just I don't know if it works as a series in itself. Like, they just called it like Boba Fett or whatever, Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, honestly, they could have just made it. I don't know what to say about it, but I like.
I don't. It's like fine. You want to have 2 episodes of Mandalorian, give the Book of Boba Fett a break. Then let's say it's a 6-episode series with 2 episodes, so 8-episode series,
right?
Where 2 of them focus mostly on the Mandalorian, and then you get 2 more episodes to like kind of build up the conflict. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's. I would like to see it again. I do love the scene when the girl, the mod, sees Fennec Shand in action, and she's like totally enamored by her.
Yeah, that was good.
I don't mean it like in a like just more like, oh my god, I want to be like her.
Right? You know? like a role model type of thing. Well, I thought it was great. I thought all the pieces worked really well. I share your complaints about the pacing of the whole narrative arc. I guess my one big gripe is like we did not see Boba Fett change as a character from like, oh, he's basically the same guy we met at the end of the Mandalorian. You know, we've seen the Mandalorian grow. You know what I mean? Like he's had this narrative arc where you saw him change.
Well,
you know,
do see Mando. I mean, yeah, it's weird because like again, those 2 episodes, like if you just had one more episode that just like had different, could have explained more like everything and like his agenda and what he wants to do, and then build up the Pikes more too, have some scenes with that, like I think like, and then build up the whole, you know, have flashbacks with like Cad Bane, and just to build up the conflict of showing like, okay, Cad Bane is like what Boba Fett could be in a Ghost of Futures Present, or whatever that what do you call that? Scrooge, the whole Scrooge thing where Cad Bane's like the ghost that warns him in a way, like, hey, you're gonna end up like this if you go down this path. And you know, the thing with his father being like seeing his dad's the severed head, or the helmet. And it is like, I do the ending, you see the ending when he's walking down the street with Fennec Shand, and he says like, well, he's getting respect, and now he's like, but not like it's like it's like different kind of respect. There's respect like a person that uses fear would get, where it's like they're just scared of you. And then there's another like earned respect where it's like hey, you're their hero. You like saved them.
This seemed
and
like
he was a little confused by it. He's like, he doesn't know if he deserves it in a way.
Yeah, it did seem like, to me, it seemed like almost like The Godfather, like from the movie, where like Marlon Brando, like all the people in the neighborhood loved Marlon Brando's Godfather. They were a little afraid of him. It wasn't exactly like entirely, but they saw him as kind of a hometown hero that, you know, you should both fear and love, kind of, you know. So it was
also
good.
They never brought back Stephen Root's character, the water guy.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll survive without that.
Well, I'm looking forward to Mandalorian, and I read today that the Obi-Wan series is going to premiere.
They had a poster for it.
Yeah, I think May 19th, I think, is when it comes.
I have a prediction for that.
Okay, what is it?
All right, so this is going to be like 3 episodes of Obi-Wan, and it's going to be like 6 episodes of Baby Yoda eating a frog, hanging out with Amy Sedaris for like 4 episodes.
I'd watch it.
And there'll be 1 episode in the end that wraps everything up. Nah, I like, it'd be kind of funny if they go into it and explain like, hey, how the fuck did he get so old? Those years. And I don't think this is gonna be like some weird time thing. And I think that like you're gonna find out he left Tatooine. He lived a life outside of he actually lived a life, meaning like he had family. He had and he ended up back in that place. That is a little crazy. I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they did have a script supposedly, and they went back and redid it because they said it was almost like too similar to Luke. Like almost like Luke is like Baby Yoda in the show. Okay. And it was like too much of like him trying to protect Luke. Yeah. And I kind of hope in a way that Luke's never in it, or he's in it. If he's in it, he's only in the distance, you know, because I think it would like screw up the narrative a little bit. of like
Yeah, for sure.
like Luke. I mean, when you meet when you watch Star Wars, you know, Luke brings up Obi-Wan and he's like he's aware of him, but he didn't really like know him.
Uh-oh.
Now, of course, they could always use the Force to make you forget.
Sure.
You know, oh, go back, little one. You don't remember me? I was never here.
Yeah. I don't know. That'll be
Never
interesting.
went to my white van with the little silver window.
Well, I'm looking forward to the Obi-Wan series. I look, I'll say this is my last thing about Book of Boba Fett. This felt like really, really close to how the original trilogy felt to me. I know.
I think these shows have really captured it in a way, but like elevating it. I will say the poor our Gamorrean guards were killed.
Yeah, when I saw those pig frogs take a leap, that was sad because I thought that they survived. To be honest with you,
no, they're dead. Those things are meant to be killed. They're like fodder.
Yeah, if you want to up the stakes and you're looking to kill some characters, then that's where you start. So,
real quick before we, oh man, I totally forgot though. Was it about Grogu or something? I don't know. I guess if it comes back to me, I'll remember. I just think, again, I think it's such a great show. I think like, there's some flaws in it. My issue with it more is just like, we got 2 great episodes, but at the expense of the main narrative be kind of getting a little fucked. But the last episode, I think, did a good job of like kind of wrapping things up a bit. That we got it. I think if we get a second season, then I feel like it won't be as robbed of like.
Right.
But if this is it, you know, I just can't. I mean, they could have. Did you hear what Tamara Morrison said again? I don't know if these things are true or not.
Yeah.
He wants Mace Windu to come back. There's all these theories that people are like, they think that he wasn't killed. Like, supposedly, like, okay, so when he confronts, you know, Palpatine and Anakin comes in and stops him, he cuts Mace Windu's arm off. And,
right.
What's his face just electrocutes him out the window.
Yeah.
But this guy was supposed to be like the most powerful Jedi next to Yoda. And they're like, there's scenes early in Attack of Clones where like Anakin's flying kind of like he's dropping down and he's gliding himself away. They're like, come on, you could easily write that Mace Windu survived. And
that one
Mace Windu saved Grogu. That he was the one who saved Grogu from the temple. Because they never explained that. We got to see that like someone clearly had to have saved him.
Well, if you went with the Mandalorian, no one ever had to save him from the temple. If Grogu went with the Mandalorian, there was no need to save him from the temple, right?
What are you talking about?
I'm confused. I thought
it's
you meant
flashback.
Yeah, I thought you were talking
Grogu
about when
saved
the Kylo Ren attack on the temple.
No, I'm talking about the Clone Wars.
Yeah, no, I got you now. I crossed wires for a second.
Yeah, because Grogu's like 50 years old. I know. It's like he's like, it's like fucking weird 50-year-old, you know? But that's it. That was gonna say like the Luke thing, like, you know, you could stick with me for years and learn to be a Jedi, or you could go have fun with your friends. What did Grogu do? Put on his little mesh shirt.
Yeah. His mithril armor.
And he went to go party with his buddy. He's like, Luke's not going to let me fucking clack a ball on a window.
Luke will never let me drive.
Luke's not, like, I love that. Like, she pretends that David Sedaris character, I don't know, what's her name on the show? I totally forgot.
I forget. You're talking about the Jerry Blank?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I always think it's odd when she said she tells Boba Fett that she likes to pull in the hole. I was like, this isn't appropriate for Star Wars.
Slightly out of place, yeah.
But a lot of things were out of place in Book of Boba Fett.
True. Yeah.
So why not?
That might not have been the most egregious of them.
But like, I just love that. You can stay with me for years and train, and it's gonna suck and it's gonna be boring.
Genius.
Or you can hang out with your buddy and still use the Force when you fucking feel like it. It's like, does that make him a dark side
Mandalorian
character?
rolls up in a space Trans Am? It's like, I don't know. It is kind of interesting because, like, you wonder if at some point that will be a plot line, like Grogu's become very, very powerful
It's
and a little
talks at some point. It's getting to the point where I just have a hard time taking him 100% serious.
Yeah.
Because like even Gizmo could talk.
Well, we know Yoda spoke basic or whatever they
yeah,
call
I
it.
mean, I think like obviously Grogu's character has some like it's a PTSD or like
yeah.
Oh, man, it's so hard taking that thing seriously. Like when they close up on his face when he's trying to put the Rancor to sleep, I'm like, oh my god, like his
little ears go down.
Yeah, his little ears wiggle, like when he's eating the worm. I just love that though. When his character's like, "Oh my god, did you fly that yourself?" And the droids, the astromech flew in. She's like, "Shut up, I know that."
Yeah, that was that character was used well this time. I'm not always a fan of that character, but I like it was good.
She surprisingly was used very well. A character like that in like action scenes can be usually awful. There's like
yes,
and I think they used her very well in that she wasn't completely useless. No. Just the part when the thing was like spinning in circles. She's like that's like she's funny. It was well done. I feel like that's very hard to do sometimes when they try to bring in like a comedic character in an action scene. It could go south very easily.
Oh, easily, yeah. No, she did well.
Again, it's a freaking Disney Plus show.
Yeah,
they did cooler shit in this than they did in the fucking.
Series. Much.
I'm sorry, I don't care. You know, these people like they always talk about like I'm a fan of Star Wars. I want to see the Rancor.
Yeah,
just dismantle the city and beat the shit out of robots.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see Hutts do shit. I want to see Boba Fett do shit. I'm sorry, I'm a fan of those things. I mean, yes, do I want new stuff too? Sure,
of course,
I do want new things. But I also want to see like, hey, if they could do it right and they could take something that was only on screen for 2 fucking seconds, in the background, or was like a weird little puppet that had limited motion because it was made 40 years ago.
Right.
I want to see it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, me too. Yeah. No, I agree.
I love what they call. I know you told me. I've always heard that people go, "That's fan service" or something. And the fan service was like a tentacle porn or some shit.
Well, no, fan service. Like I think the way it was originally intended is like. This sounds like super weird, but like when you get a panty shot in an anime cartoon, like when and you see
but like I said, when you told me that, I was like, what? Because I've always heard fan service is literally like Max Rebo showing up. That's fan service.
I think now that's become the more acceptable way to use the term. I think if you say fan service now,
reverted, unless you get off on Max Rebo.
But like when like you're watching a fairly serious anime like Neon Genesis Evangelion, and everything's serious and real, and then all of a sudden they're on a playground and a girl's skirt flies up, and then like they go back to being normal. That's like that's the traditional definition of fan service.
Shit. The girl's like 14.
And millions of incels reach for their pause button, you know.
Millions cried at once.
It's like the destruction of Alderaan to them, where they feel
whatever. Skirts. I mean, I'm going to use the term for you know, Luke showing up and teaching, being a Jedi and teaching people how to be a Jedi. Like, good. If it's done well, which it was done well. Was it perfect? No, but it was light years of. It was crazy. Like, it was crazy to see that. I remember there was like rumors of Han showing up. I'm kind of glad that didn't happen. I didn't. Yeah.
Well, look, for stuff like this to work for me, and I'm just talking about for myself, I want elements of the original stuff in there, but I also want I want the focus to be on the new stuff. You know? Yeah,
and I'm fine with that, but I don't think it's a bad thing to have an AT-AT show up. I don't think it's a bad. It's Star Wars.
Yeah, like if I didn't see any stormtrooper helmets on Pikes, if I didn't hear Mos Eisley mentioned, if I didn't see, the occasional Jawa or something, I'd be like, well, why didn't they just make this a new sci-fi series? Why'd they have to stamp Star Wars on it? You need that stuff in there. So
it's so weird. I don't know why. Like people, like I just hear these weird complaints that some people have, and it's just like I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to something else.
All right. Well, we have kind of a much like the twin sons of Tatooine. We have a twin pair of. The first one was
gazpacho.
Blue states are. There's a trend, not a huge trend, of blue states rescinding mask mandates. New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut. There's one other. I guess Virginia's not a blue state anymore, but like there are 3 or 4.
I think it is. I think Glenn Youngkin is learning that Glenn Youngkin's getting like shit on.
He's
like,
a
you see that video
shithead.
of him at a store, and I'm like, I don't know if there's a cashier or a woman there.
I think it was a cashier.
And she went off on him, and somebody said something after her, and she's like, I have every right to say something to him.
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing a mask. Like,
well, and everyone else in that scene was, and she's right.
Yeah.
Read the room. You're gonna show some fucking respect.
This guy's-
Everyone around you's wearing a mask.
It's like he wins by like 1%, right? It was like 1% in the end. It wasn't a big win.
Something like that, yeah.
And he's acting like he's fucking Greg Abbott or fucking Ron DeSantis. And it's like, dude, I just think like a good example, there's a town in like Colorado that swings very conservative. And they start putting in all these anti-mask mandates and everything. And basically put that in. And the school that probably has people that live in like different counties and stuff, they walked out. They went on strike.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not gonna honor it. That's the difference between there and here, where the people are like, well, oh, we're fine. We're not wearing masks. We don't give a shit.
I think with New York. Okay, go finish your thought.
That was it. I'm just saying, I think it's like similar like Virginia. I'm like, yeah, there's right-wing parts of Virginia, but I think the state has gone blue over the years. I don't know how the fuck this guy won.
Well,
it's probably some shady shit, and or just got enough reactionaries to come out or whatever. But I don't think this guy's gonna have the easy. Like, he's not going to have what like these other red state governors have, where they get away with their bullshit, because there's really because the majority of the state is that bullshit.
Yeah, like, or at least Texas is weird because there's so much of it. You can.
Most of Texas is central. Everything else is like,
it's the periphery or whatever.
It's like the middle of Texas. You have like DFW, you have Austin, you have San Antonio, you have Houston. It's like like almost like a big straight line, and that's really where everything is. And then all the stuff in the east and west is like,
well, Texas is. I mean, no accident. Texas is built up on where the interstates are. Like I-10, I-40, and I-35. That's probably like on one of those 3 roads you'll find your big cities. But like in New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, they're getting rid of their mask mandates.
Yeah, that's weird. It's because they've seen the rates drop.
Yeah,
right? But it's like, when are they doing it though? Are they doing it? They already do it, or is it like
now, like over this weekend or something?
Why not wait till March? Like, that's what I mean. It's like, it's like the same thing with like, with the mask mandates here. It's like, why can't we just wait till the vaccine's ready for kids?
Well, here's my suspicion with New York, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. And
Eric Adams.
What?
Eric Adams.
Oh no, I think that they saw what happened in Virginia. And I think that Glenn Youngkin won because of the mask stuff. You got enough chuds all worked up to go. And I think they're like, you know what? We have, and I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with this, but like, I think they're calculating, look, we have a vaccine and we're giving away masks so you can still wear a mask. And we got plenty of chuds not wearing masks anyway. And you got fucking Sarah Palin in downtown New York.
Oh, she supposedly had COVID.
Yeah, eating at a restaurant. And so, like, I think they're doing the math and saying, like, you know what? If we get rid of the mask mandates, things are probably going to stay pretty much the same. Plenty of people are still going to wear masks. we won't have to like deal with this anti-mask, bullshit.
I mean,
people.
that's the joke is like most of these idiots get amplified because
Yeah.
they react to these rules and the right-wing media fucking riles them up. But I don't think you can't, they can get away with anything then with anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but
I don't want to upset these morons because, and it's like, okay, you do this and then you do that. And it's like,
I agree, but the mitigating factor there is that we do have good vaccines that work pretty well.
yeah, but you also like, you have to make sure people are getting them.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that I agree with or disagree with their decision, but I think that they're saying like, look, if we get rid of the mask mandates now and we just let it roll, then by the time the midterms roll around, nobody can use this against us. People, that's what I think is going on.
I think it's too early. I think it could blow up and then you'll have fucking another outbreak of like new variant. I think the masks are the thing that keeps the fucking variants at bay.
Yeah.
The vaccines are the things that keep the variants at bay.
Well,
but again, I would say like another month, March
Yeah.
would be a great month. I think February, it's like, people will start doing more outdoor stuff in March.
Yeah.
People eat out more outside in March. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to like, I don't know. It's odd. It's an odd thing. I'm like,
well,
if the rates are going down and the deaths are going down,
yeah,
that's one thing. But like, if you just see a slight down, you shouldn't just jump the gun.
No.
Like, that's idiotic. It's like, yeah, oh, good, we're trending. Okay, well, guess what? We're 15% down. When we get to 25% down, then we can maybe it'd be safer to actually open things. The fucking thing, the joke is anyway, everything's open.
Yeah.
Everything's open.
Well, that's I think the other reality they're looking at, and they're saying that there's no upside to keeping the mask mandate because the people that aren't going to wear it. And what are we doing here? And if we rescind the mask mandate, then nobody can use that as a weapon against us.
I think it's the schools. I don't even care about like the stupid malls and shit like that. It's the fucking schools. I think that's the place that they should not be unleashing the mask mandate on.
Well,
that's I'm sorry, but like Omicron blew up when people started going back to school.
Yeah.
Delta variant blew up here when people went back to school here and there was no mask mandate anymore. And what happened after Christmas time? Dude, we're still at like where we live. We're at, let me even look. And again, these numbers I think are not the true number. I always think it's like a little higher. Like we're getting like a more what do you call it? It's not sanitized, but not everyone. Like if you take a test at home and you get COVID, it's not like you have to report it. The ones that get reported are the ones that get done at like doctor's offices or at the testing stations.
Well,
I think if you tell the school, maybe the school tells the town. But
I'm going to throw out another argument in favor of these blue state governments doing this, and that is none of those blue states are mandating against mask policies. New York, let's say Massachusetts. Massachusetts rescinds the statewide mask mandate tomorrow. If Amherst decides to have a mask mandate, Massachusetts isn't going to take them to court to prevent them from.
Yeah, that's how Colorado is.
Like, that's a big difference.
It's not taking fucking Denver to court or whatever.
Right. If Colorado says tomorrow no more state mask mandate, then it's probably not going to matter terribly because in progressive or populated areas, they'll have the freedom to do that.
And retail operations have the right to be like, yeah, you want to come in here? You got to wear fucking mask.
And if you live in like Bears Anus, Western Colorado, then you don't have to ever have a mask mandate because you have like 7 people living there. And, they are just living in a constant state of oxy-fueled meth madness that they're not going to catch anything anyway. So I think that's the difference.
I get what you're saying, but again, like, dude, you know what we're at right now? I know we're not one of those blue states, obviously, but dude, our town is at 1,175 cases.
Yeah.
And we only have like what, 15, 17,000
I think
people live
15,
here?
yeah.
Okay, well, I would say to play safe, there's probably 500 more people who have it.
Probably.
So we're at literally 1% of the 10% of the population has fucking COVID.
That's crazy.
Right, there's no mandates here. People wear it at will, and that's it. I mean, I'll say this: I'm glad, and I think maybe it's just because we live in a more like we're not as I don't know. I never had an idiot come up to me like try to like tell me like to take my mask off or anything like that.
Oh yeah. I wear my mask when I go out. I will say probably twice in the last month I've not had my mask in my car, and both times, once was at PetSmart and once was at Walmart. Both times I've walked in hoping that they had the stacks of masks there, the disposable ones, and they did. I was in the store for maybe like 6 minutes.
Regardless, like I said, I think the reality is that the school, I guess those blue states is that they're not going to have like Abbott or DeSantis that like makes it their political mission to go after, go after schools, say they're going to take away their budget, and like, I mean, just
that's really the difference. If you live in a big city that's being hit hard by COVID, you should have the ability to quickly put in a mask mandate for whatever and then rescind it for whatever. And that's no big deal. And honestly, like there's probably, we've said this before, I've said this before, there's probably some cities where they never really needed a mask mandate. There's like 30 people living there. There's no tourism or no travel to and from that town. If you live in D's Nuts, Missouri, and there's nothing going on there, then who the fuck cares if you have a mask mandate? I mean, honestly, I mean, like you could probably.
I just think that again. I just think the schools is where they really should be.
Yeah, I'd say in general, but again,
I mean, the kids in this area went back to school the first week of January, and when the kids start going back to school in January here, the numbers here also like blew up. It's never been this high. Never.
I would say
this is over 3 times higher than it ever was here. Those numbers. It never reached 500.
This area is a weird one to judge by, in some good ways and a lot of bad ways. I would say that's another argument for it needing to be local communities needing the right to do what they need to do, like Abbott and I'm sure like Stitt up in Oklahoma and DeSantis in Florida make it super difficult for local governments to serve their local people,
which is hysterical because they're supposed to be the ones who back off, and which is complete bullshit. They're the most authoritarian.
It's crazy.
Ever.
I don't think, look, nobody wants mask mandates. I mean, like, I think that a lot of chuds believe that, but like, no one is waiting, staying up at night, like gleefully rubbing their hands together that people have to wear masks. No one wants that. It's just,
I don't know. I mean, at this point, fire's been around for fucking 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like in the beginning when the virus first started, people like they were always dickheads, but people like try to take it somewhat seriously.
A few were dickheads.
And then it became completely political and the president jumped on it.
Yeah.
Trump jumped on it. And ever since then, it just never went. It was like became the biggest political like the most divisive political issue where you had one group that took it seriously, and you had another group that didn't take it seriously, but also wanted to like attack Asian people and like blame China and all this bizarre shit. And it never made any sense because it's like, but you guys don't even take it seriously. So
it was such a confusing mix of beliefs. You know, I mean, it was
yeah, it's
really
like you
difficult.
don't give a fuck about it at all. Why do you leave? Yeah, everything about it is fucking. Well, we'll be talking about it again.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna talk about Rogan down the line. Okay, what's the?
Well,
was there anything else about that though, or
no? I guess my point with that is that I legitimately believe that the blue states are like, look, we're set up in a way so that our local communities can still mandate masks if they want to.
if Staten Island wants to have a fucking COVID blowout, go have it in your island.
I mean, yeah,
they tend to be right wing, very right wing.
Yeah, and then like if you want to go into Manhattan and have dinner, they should be able to have the right to mandate masks. You know, I mean that's
or vaccines.
Yeah.
The biggest joke is, what is it, Greg Gutfeld, that fucking guy from Fox?
Yeah.
I guess he's doing some event in Dallas.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, but do you know the joke about that?
Well, is it?
You have to be like vaccinated, I think, or you have to prove it's just so funny because like these guys like tell their audience not to get back. It's just like such a hypocrisy. It's like,
dude, I'm sure if they're like, I'm going to a right wing gathering in Texas, they're gonna have some fucking vaccine mandates. They're like, anyone with a brain doesn't want to be in front of like 500 chuds in Texas, you know, not without some sort of protection. But my whole theory was that the blue states are doing this for political purposes. They don't want to be saddled with this come election time, like Northam was in Virginia.
I still think the Virginia thing is. I think that Glenn Youngkin guy is going to have a fucking miserable 4 years. I don't think he's going to get the. I mean, I'm sure he's going to put in all kinds of crazy shit. I think there was like successful lawsuits against whatever bullshit he was trying to put.
Yeah, to stop it. You know, they haven't ruled on whether or not he can or can't.
I just don't think that. You know, I think this guy. Well, one isn't the state party though. Isn't the Democratic still control the delegation or something?
Yeah, I believe so. But he also, the attorney general, is a crazy right-wing Republican.
Yeah, I mean, I just think again, it's like these clowns can do whatever they want. They'll try and everything, but I think it'll backfire. I mean, the thing is though, it's like it's only one term, and this asshole will do his one term, and maybe hopefully a Democrat gets back in, and that guy will just fucking fly away and never come back, you know, or go do something else, have aspirations, something else. But it's just one term. And I think he might be like, I don't know. I think that video of that woman just saying something.
Yeah, that was awesome. Well, the other thing, and this tied with it, is that I saw Mitch McConnell and Pence talking about Trump and how he was wrong. And Mitch McConnell actually came out and said it about the January 6th insurrection. I'm kind of like moving into the next topic, but tying it to the previous one.
Well, what did they say exactly?
Well, Pence came out and said that Trump was wrong to say I had the authority to do this, and I didn't.
A year later.
Right, a year later. And he said it mildly in front of like a closed audience in Orlando to the Federalist Society.
What's funny, you say that too, because the RNC literally came out and declared that January 6th was just a political demonstration.
Legitimate political discourse.
Yeah, not a violent coup attempt.
Right. But McConnell came out today and said that January 6th was an armed insurrection and that it was unacceptable. And he used like pretty strong language. Now, well, the theory is, and I tended to believe it, although you and I have talked a little bit, and I'm wondering now if there might be more to it. The theory is that the older establishment Republicans, Pence, McConnell, a few others, know that the January 6th report's going to be bad. And it's going to come out right before, they're going to have televised hearings right before the midterms.
Yeah.
You know, and so Pence and McConnell are trying to get out ahead of that and signaling that let's start gathering up a few people and throw them under the bus.
I think also they also are trying to like attack Kamala Harris at the same time.
I could see that. That might be a side benefit, you know.
Kamala Harris is the one that's gonna do the thing that Trump wanted Pence to do that he refused to do, but Kamala Harris will steal the election.
Well, that was always the weirdest argument. I mean, that they would still make that Pence had the power to keep Trump in office, because if you keep saying that shit and you swear by it, then you're basically saying, well, then you're basically setting it up so that Harris could try that. And what are you going to do then? You've said for years that the vice president could do this. So why are you doing that now?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, of course, they want to normalize. They want to win the election. They also don't want the Democrats to be able to use January 6th as a way to, because listen, I would like the Democrats to run on like an agenda and to tell them like, hey, you want this, you're gonna have to vote for us. We're the ones that are gonna give it to you.
Right.
But that doesn't seem to be the thing that ever happens, because there's too many right-wing Democrats that prevent anything from happening. But they could use January 6th easily. Yeah. To rightfully scare people into not voting for Republicans. Rightfully, because the January 6th thing was absolutely horrible. And it was if you want to say like it was political, what did they say?
Legitimate political discourse.
I would say it was a fascist uprising. Yeah. That's really scary.
It's just so fucking weird. Like, do you think any of these people would even for a minute tolerate half a dozen people banging on their door asking to come in? They tried that shit in like Georgia once, and the governor had a congresswoman arrested because she wanted to ask a question.
Yeah. These people are liars. These are the people who say that like they are trying to take away your Aunt Jemima and your Cat in a Hat and all that, but they're the ones that literally remove books, every book they could think of from the bookshelf, put in insane laws like if the librarian refuses to follow what the insane teacher says, they will owe 10 grand, and it's like, what? Real crazy shit. Like, they can't hire a lawyer, they can't do this. It's like, wait, that seems like cancel culture.
Yeah, it's just bananas. But I wondered if this was more election maneuvering with like McConnell and Pence and a few others trying to get out ahead of this and tell it. Because like, look, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Madison Cawthorn, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, they're stone cold morons. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is about as sharp as a bag of wet hair. And there's just no... I think McConnell's saying like, look, this is within our grasp. We just got to pull our shit together, you know? So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this tweet. Let me see if I can find this real quick.
Yeah. I don't know. I do think it's election maneuvering, I guess is what I'm saying.
Of course. Well, they want to create like a narrative that like the Chuck Todds of the world will repeat. But then what the party's really doing, where the RNC says, like, we think that January 6th was just like normal American political discourse, they want to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
And, and they want to be like, so some asshole on there tells people that like Mitch McConnell's a man of honor. It's like, no, he's not. He's a horrible toad. Like, he's an absolutely disgusting creature. Yeah, I don't. All right, I'll save. I have some of these for later.
All right.
What was the next one?
Well, the next thing we were going to talk about, I saw this great video today, and I want to credit the reporter who did it. It was Glenna Milberg, who works for WPLG. I guess it's a local TV station out of Miami, and it was this weird thing. Okay, so I've been reading about the Republicans picking up voter registration advantages in like Nevada and in Michigan and in Wisconsin and in Florida, where it was like Republicans are registering at a rate like 3 times that of Democrats, which is a little unusual because it's generally the opposite. It's usually like people register independent, but like younger people, they tend to register more Democrat than Republican. Right. But anyway, and this is being shown as terribly bad news. So in Florida, these old people at a retirement home started saying that like these workers were coming around and saying your voter ID is about to expire. Let me help you re-register and shit like that. And then as it turns out, they find out they're registered as Republican, right? And like, why does that matter? Well, it just matters because it looks like the trends are turning Republican. So you could say
it's manipulation, and
right.
It's like polls that manipulate things too, but this is like straight up manipulation.
Right. Well, and then they'll say, like in a year, if they lose, how could we lose? We have 6 times as many registered voters as you.
Yep.
Like, and that's their built-in excuse.
And then when they lose, they could claim voter fraud.
Right, they'll claim voter fraud. But coincidentally, one old lady had the presence of mind to film the poll worker that came by her apartment or condo or whatever to help her re-register to vote. And as she was filming this person, they filmed her name tag, and her name tag had a QR code on it. And if you scan the QR code, it takes you to the Florida Republican Party's website. And the woman's real name was on the thing and whatever. And then the reporter went to that woman's house, the poll worker's house.
Do you ever accidentally scan a QR code? Not like you had your camera on.
Yeah,
I've done that. Like, oh shit! What? I don't want to open this. Like, I mean,
it's a menu from Fuddruckers. What am I doing on this one? So this woman refused to come out of the home, didn't want to talk to the reporter. And then the daughter got on and said, like, she's not going to talk to anybody without a lawyer. And then you could hear in the background the woman calling someone on the phone and them telling her, don't talk to anyone. And it was the Republican Party. So it was clearly something super shady. And then they asked DeSantis about it later on in the day, and he's like, well, we'll get to the bottom of these election shenanigans, and we want voter intent. But it was like clearly a fucking inside job. And my guess is, my educated guess is, they did this in Florida, they're doing it in Nevada, they're doing it in Michigan, they're doing it all over.
Guys like DeSantis don't win majority votes.
No,
he didn't win a majority vote in 2018, and if that guy Gillum wanted to really fight, and the narrative didn't work again. There was a weird. I remember there was all these like right wingers attacking this woman that I forgot her name, who was in charge of the elections or whatever in Florida. Or
was it Pam Bondi or something?
No, what's this older black lady that they were like targeting, and I think she was like a Democrat or something. They were trying to like claim that she was one stealing the election. I don't know. It was like a big story. I just saw all the right wingers going after her, and because they wanted to like the election in 2018 was a little fishy in Florida, and there's a good chance that maybe DeSantis didn't win, or it was a lot closer than we thought. And I just think guys like him don't win elections because they suck. They don't. They don't.
Well, they get in and then they start narrowing their base.
Yeah, like
they start excluding people.
I've never seen. I mean, I would say George W. Bush was probably like. I mean, from what I remember as because I was like in my 20s at that point when he was president. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that this guy, like, it's like, he's just narrowing. And the only reason why he won in 2004 was just out of the fear of 9/11.
Yeah.
And like other bullshit. But like, he did. I've never seen that before. It was like, he's acting like he's the only president to like these red states and that's it. And then we saw Trump do the same thing.
Yep.
Really narrow, like, but even further, just like.
Oh, and blatantly.
Like, yeah, and DeSantis is like that as the governor of Florida. It's like he wants to create this narrative that like Florida is this perfect red state oasis for MAGA chuds to come.
Yeah.
And maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't been there in like over a decade. I have no idea what it's like.
Well, I think you're right. And I think that is the plan, is that they're going to have built-in excuses, like, because those old people, like, some people are going to be like, well, what's the harm? The old people can still vote for a Democrat if they feel like. It doesn't matter. They probably will go out and vote for a Democrat.
They'll fucking throw away the election. They can they have the legislation too, right? The Republicans have the legislation now.
But when the Democrat wins legitimately with more votes, then the Republicans will point to voter fraud and base it off of voter registration, which they
Yeah.
fucking achieved through fraud.
Look at all these millions of Republicans that were never
Yeah.
Republicans for. Now they're
Right.
voting. They're
Yeah.
taking away their right.
So
Whatever. It's clown shit. I mean, it's exactly what they do. I feel
But-
like that's the problem with like political discourse in general. And like when I see people who like those weirdos that like claim they're on the left and they just attack Democrats and don't attack Republicans, and it's
Right.
like or people who say dumb shit like the parties are the same. No, they're not. The Democratic Party is not actively doing what the Republican Party does when it comes to like votes and shit. Like this is ridiculous.
Well, I hope that there's like a district attorney or something in Miami or wherever this happened that's a Democrat and they investigate it.
It doesn't even have to be a Democrat. It just has to be somebody who's like, if anything, it may be better if it's apolitical.
Yeah.
And like, this is the right thing. And it's like, clearly this is like a crime happening right now.
The funny thing would be is if the crime violated one of the voter fraud laws that the Republicans just rammed through their own legislature.
Oh, they just ignore it.
But that's the thing is I'm afraid that
law.
they're going to blame this on a rogue operative or someone who's too eager, and they'll laugh it off and say these things happen and blah blah. But I don't think that's it. I think if someone were to dig deep enough, they would find a coordinated multi-state effort to pull this shit for this specific reason. That's my thought, so I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about that.
I mean, it's just it's not new. It's just further and showing you like how anti-democratic the Republican Party is. It just is. And I think, it's like at the end of the day, they're a 100% pro-corporate party that works against workers. It works against people's wanting to have better health care, better retirement plans, more sick days, work days, COVID restrictions that help stop people from getting, dying.
Mm-hmm.
They work against all of that. So like, of course, people, as more people go on the internet, more people become more educated or learn about stuff, they get like actual good information, they're going to not vote Republican. That's just a fact.
Well, this is, I guess, the next topic, and it kind of ties into what we were just talking about. Florida has kind of been ground zero for anti-trans laws, although a whole bunch of states have recently passed anti-trans laws.
Texas, those states are, Texas being one.
Yeah, Oklahoma, South Dakota. Yeah, they're
all red states. This is not happening in any. I don't think this is happening in any of the blue states.
I will say, I think it is. I don't think it's getting as much traction, but this in an odd way is a Republican. Again, I think there's a reason they're targeting trans persons for discrimination here, and that they think that there are fewer trans rights activists out there than there are suburban moms who don't want their daughter's soccer record messed with. I'm serious. Look.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of women.
Oh, I know. There's reactionaries everywhere. Republicans win in blue states all the time because of that. If they could get it. That's why it's interesting you bring that up about the mask earlier. It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we just loosen it, and because that way these idiots don't have a fucking political football they can use for 8 months. Well,
then if you let individual businesses and individual then you kind of diffuse it.
If you have a big populated city, you have to.
Right, that's a little different.
You can't. There's a reason why we have laws, and you can't. Republicans will say things like, people will do the right thing, and they know they don't.
They don't.
Well, the laws that are put in by people who are not doing the right thing, literally, like
it is tough. Like, let's say, and again, I don't know how to explain my feelings about this, because like I'm obviously 100% against these anti-trans bills, very supportive of the trans community. But it's a tough argument to make. Like, let's say there's a broke family with a girl that runs track, and the girl that runs track's trying to get a scholarship, and all of a sudden she's running track against a trans athlete, and they think that that athlete has an advantage. Now, whether or not that athlete does or doesn't, whether none of that really matters.
It's fucking stupid because I've seen the right wing. What they do is they like even like fucking South Park did a stupid episode where they like. That's why I always thought like lately, like not lately, forever. That show sucks because like it is a right wing narrative. They did an episode one time where like Macho Man Randy Savage showed up.
Yeah.
The guy's been dead for like years, so that's great. A guy who was basically Macho Man Randy Savage, and he was telling people like there was a character in the show called PC, whatever, the PC principal, and he marries this woman called like Strong Woman or whatever.
Yeah.
And in this episode, Strong Woman wants to enter a competition, like a race, literally what you just said, a racing competition. And the right-wing myth that they try to create, Joe Rogan's pushed this narrative for years. For years, they try to create these stories of men taking a hormone for like a day and claiming they're a woman, so they could win in the female competition because they're just not good enough in the men's. They just don't. The men are so superior that of course any man's going to win in the female competition. And all they had to do was just claim they were a woman and just take a hormone like once or twice.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what that stupid cartoon was, like where it was like Randy Macho Man and he was winning, and the Strong Woman who was like super progressive was like really confused and doesn't know what to do here. And but it was like such a gross, like that's not happening. And if it has, it's probably like an isolated thing. You don't.
It's not happening. I'm just
saying.
You
don't put a national ban on. You know, it's like Reagan with the so-called what do you call it? The creating the narrative of the welfare queen.
Yeah, I agree. It's not happening. I'm just saying that it is plausible enough so that it riles a lot of people up.
Oh, it's a very easy thing. Reactionary rhetoric works way better than like some nerd trying to explain process in a. No, that's why the Republicans are still like considered a viable party, because more people know about Mr. Potato and Cat in the Hat than they do about like healthcare, understanding healthcare.
The real thing is that the trans athlete and his or her parents and the girl athlete and her parents or whatever, they should all be together saying, why the fuck do we have to compete to go to college? Why can't college just be free? That's the real.
That's a whole other story.
Well, I'm just saying that like
Joe Biden basically came out recently. Jill Biden, basically saying that like free community college was already like that's off the table. The thing that Biden said he was going to do is now off the table.
Well, I know that got gutted in a lot of the bills that they've tried to get together in the legislature.
They did everything they can so Joe Manchin can vote against it anyway.
Yeah, so he can drive over students in his Maserati.
Yeah, so Kristen Sinema can.
But that's the thing, is that they limit goods and then make marginalized people fight over them. That's what they do. Because women, for a long time and to this day, have been marginalized in a lot of ways. And women athletes, that's why we have Title IX, because women's athletics have been marginalized for so long. And now there's a trans community, and that's what the Republicans love to do, is to pick one.
And Ron DeSantis, they're playing like Ron DeSantis, like this bill I'm putting in protects girl athletes.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't, you fucking creep.
Right. If you wanted to protect girl athletes, you would. There's a million things you could do, and one of the biggest things you could do for all of these kids is to make athletics free and not have these weird participation fees that they give kids in high school, and to make college free, so they don't have to run for their education. So
the other farce too is like these, the trans kids, like some of these kids have been on the hormones for years that they're technically not men or vice versa. Like I told you, there was this funny, some right-wing douchebag posted some picture. It was like hysterical of this man who was like a UFC, not a man, he transitioned to a woman, and he showed a before and after photo. And I don't know what point he was trying to make, this guy, but he shows the photo of the guy of the, pre-trans, where buff dude, and then like 2 or 3 years later, using hormones and, a woman now, a trans woman, all that mass was gone.
Yeah.
She competes in the female, all that mass is gone. Looked like a woman. she looked more feminine than the woman she was fighting.
I saw
You know what I'm
one.
saying?
I saw one
I
trans
was like,
bill.
people were like, what point are you making? Like, you kind of like owning yourself here.
Yeah, I saw one where it was like, I don't know. It's just that none of all the little specifics don't so much matter to me as
vice versa. I seen years ago this was a couple years ago. There was one where a trans boy who was from transitioned from a female to male, was trying to compete in wrestling, could beat literally mop the floor with like most of the dudes there. And they were trying to make it him have to compete with girls. And it was like, you know what I mean? It was like it was like a reversal of like what they claim, and it was complete bullshit. I mean, again, regardless, listen, there's going to be scenarios. There's going to be, but like you said, it's like they take two marginalized groups and pit them against each other. They like reduce women's sports down. They cut the funding. They do that. So with whatever little, we're fighting over the little pittance. You know, it's the gift, that awesome gift of the guy with like the stack of Oreos.
Yep.
The guy in the middle with one Oreo, and the really poor person who just has like some crumb, like not even like dust. And then like the rich guy distracts the guy in the middle, tells him to look at him, say, hey, look what happened. And then he takes that guy's like only cookie. Yeah. I mean, that's what they do. And it's a great distraction. I mean, listen, you get out a person run on the Democrats and promise all things in the world and talk about healthcare and all that, but the Republicans know that they could just bring up something ridiculous like, trying to villainize a trans kid. Yeah. And like win an election based on bullying a trans kid.
Well, I don't know. It'll be interesting. The attitudes towards trans persons is changing pretty dramatically day by day. I mean, it's
the same thing that led to gay marriage. I mean, at some point it became acceptable. I mean, like, shit on Ellen, after she went out and watch football with George W. Bush, and she supposedly just sucks in general, but like her coming out in the early mid 90s and making her show, taking her show and turning her character into a lesbian. Was it a success at the time? No, but it was a big deal. No one was doing that. Yeah. I don't think people realized like how even 10 years ago didn't have gay marriage.
No.
It was like a thing that never was going to happen. It was like a couple of states, it'll be, but it won't be recognized on a federal
level.
Everyone
thought it was going to be a New York, California thing, period.
Vermont, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And it changed the culture for the better. Like I said, the Republicans, right wing, they always need a boogeyman. So what best to do is to go after trans people, and then you can even get some gay people on your side because, I don't know. It's cruel. At the end of the day, it's cruel. That's it. I mean, like you're denying.
That's it.
And they use the sport. Using the sport thing is such a loaded. It's like, okay, it starts there, but then it's like,
but all of them have like components that address bathrooms, components that
it's just like not be allowed in the school. I forgot there was like some in Texas or something. There was like some. I found it on Twitter today or something. Some female woman who was running for Congress or whatever, who just outright talking about going after trans kids, literally like proud of it. I'm like,
these people are disgusting.
You sick fuck.
Yeah, they want to humiliate children, which is kind of a weird.
It's like I wonder if your kids either are bullies or they hate you because they know you're a bully. Yeah, and they don't want to be anything like you. Or that person has like. One has a bunch of kids and one of them is like LGBT and like themselves, they have a horrible fucking ghoul for a parent. Well, before we get to the Joe Rogan thing, there was one thing we didn't talk about. I don't think it needs a lot of time. Trump video.
Oh yeah.
So it was just some video of like, do you have it?
I don't think. Oh, I do have the video somewhere. Let me see
if I
where
can
that
find
was.
it.
It was a video. He was endorsing a candidate. The video, the words were almost not as important. Okay, let me see if. Oh, my computer speakers aren't going to work because I have.
I just put the iPhone onto the mic.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. Okay.
President Donald Trump.
It's like this weird video, and you said it reminded like if at a whale where they play a video of a rich guy telling them like what they're leaving people.
It's so poorly lit, and it's like kind of amateurish, and it reminded me of like in all those old horror movies where like they'd play a film at the will, and the eccentric billionaire would like say that whoever can spend the night and last the longest.
Or I've hidden the money in here, and this is like the great wacky race or whatever.
It's a mad world.
Or it makes me think of also like Brewster's Million.
Yeah.
When, Richard Pryor's told that he has to spend a certain amount to get the money, but it has to be spent in a certain way. And it's like literally a video, but yeah.
Hello, I'm President Donald Trump.
No, you're not.
When it comes to Georgia's
you were president.
District, I have only one choice, and the man's name is Vernon Jones, a very special person.
Yeah, I don't really need to hear it. It's just like you said, it's shot very funny. It's like I want to like overdub it and just be like, I'm leaving Eric Trump my bottled water collection. Ivanka gets everything. He doesn't even mention Don Jr.
Right. It's just such a weird. I think the lighting of the videos is the worst. It's just, it looks like almost like it was shot in the 1970s or something.
It's amateurish. It's like, it looks like this is the president speaking in like a very low budget movie.
Yeah.
Like, we need to create a president thing, but what do we do? I don't know. Just grab some fucking cheap ass flags you got at Walmart, put them in the background, and we'll just try to get in as close as possible so we don't show the background too much.
Get him a wide ass red tie.
Yeah, a shitty ass tie. Yeah, it's like he's in like a shitty, like one of those awful Bruce Willis movies that come out now. Speaking of that, so I brought that up a while back. We watched an awful movie on Netflix. I don't know if you finished it, but I did
not finish it.
It was awful. Cosmic Sin.
Yes, that was it.
It was just this piece of shit movie that Bruce Willis was supposedly in.
Yeah.
He's in it for like 2 minutes and he just stretch it out. He doesn't interact with really any of the actors. It is garbage. Supposedly he's made like 30 of these movies over the
years. His IMDb page is like riddled with this shit.
And it's funny because like Red Letter Media, I was gonna send you the link. Red Letter Media did a whole video about it.
I gotta watch that.
Different movies. There's like one movie they said that's actually like seems like a real movie. Okay. They're just saying like at some point, like, dude, your career's done. Like, you're not gonna get out of this. Like people will talk shit about like Nicolas Cage and stuff like that, but like Nicolas Cage, like over the years has like try to be in real movies.
Oh, he'll do like for every schlocky movie, every 2 or 3 schlocky movies he's in like a legit movie or at least an interesting art movie. But even
the schlocky ones, he's actually in it.
Yeah.
These movies with like Bruce Willis, like he's not even in it. They don't even feel like real movies.
No, it's like they made a movie and then they're like, you know what? I'll bet you we can get Bruce Willis for like 10 grand. And then they bring him out.
Probably like half the budget. It's probably like 100,000.
Well, I don't
guarantee you he ain't doing it for 10 grand.
It's weird. I don't know why he's doing it because I mean, I never got the impression that he spent recklessly or I don't know. I mean, he's like,
I don't know. It's
like he's got to get residuals off of like 12 Monkeys and he's made them.
They said in the Red Letter thing, they said that there's supposedly an earpiece too in some of the scenes. You can see him wearing an earpiece where it's like he didn't even read the script. They're just feeding him the lines.
Ugh.
Yeah, like it's so bad. They'll have him like they'll just have some shots of him walking around. They said you notice that like there's barely any scenes with him with the person next to him. It's very rare that he's in like, he's usually by himself, or it's done like where the conversation is like he's not there and they're just editing it together. It's so bad they brought up. I highly recommend you watch this episode of Red Letter Media.
I will. I like his stuff.
I just think it's funny because I brought that up like, I don't know, whenever we watched that like 6 months ago, whatever it was like last summer or whatever. I was like, I noticed, I'm like, this is like, he is not in this movie. He's like, they got him for 2 days.
Yeah.
Some scenes. They probably put him on a green screen a bunch of times. He's hardly in it. All the other actors kind of carry the narrative. Such a piece of shit. I've never seen such a crappier movie.
I'm looking at his filmography right now. In 2019, he was in the Lego Movie 2 and the movie Glass. He played a cameo at the very end.
Yeah.
And those are the last 2 decent movies he was in. You'd have to go back to like 2014. He was in that Sin City sequel.
Looper.
Yep. Well, Looper was great, and that was 2012. But yeah, around 2012, 2014, that's when he stopped making decent movies. You know,
they just said, like, I remember Kevin Smith came out and said that he's just like a really lazy actor. He was the worst actor I ever worked with.
Wow.
Sylvester Stallone said something nasty about him. I don't know, like he went. The joke is that like those Expendable movies are kind of like that too, where they just get these people like film like one scene and they work them in. It's like almost the same type of like formula, but they were bigger budget.
Right.
But, like Bruce Willis wouldn't even, like Sylvester Stallone said, he's just incredibly lazy. It's like he has no real passion to act. This is clearly not a person who gives a shit. They even talk about, before we move on, they even talk about in the Red Letter Media thing, they bring up that he's in a, okay, so it's funny how Luke is in this, and Mark Hamill obviously gave his blessing, and like he's clearly doing the voice still.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they would have to modify his voice to make him sound younger.
Probably.
His voice is more growly, or whenever you hear him talk, like especially like his voice sounds more like the way it did in 1983.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah. I agree.
But there's like it's a character though, and it's weird because it's Luke. It's like he's like Spider-Man. It's like it's an odd thing. But Bruce Willis starred in a commercial in Russia. But here's the funny: he didn't actually star in the commercial. It's a CGI replica of him, and he basically
signed off on it
to let him do it. And like the replica is like younger than it's bizarre.
Oh man,
like he just clearly doesn't give a shit.
That's crazy because like I always thought he was a pretty great actor younger, like that the character he played
in Pulp Fiction.
Moonlighting was
he's great at playing harmonica.
Yeah.
This shitty
those Seagram's Golden Wine Coolers ads.
He was great when he came out for the Iraq War, like really came out for the Iraq War, didn't say it once, but a bunch of times, and said he would go out there too if he wasn't too old. He actually said that. If he just wasn't too old.
He was great in Looper. He was great in 12 Monkeys. He's been great in a lot of things, and in some different things. He played like kind of a suave.
I don't like if you see some of these movies he's in now, these really shitty ones where he's in. It's almost like, did he have a stroke or something?
You wonder if he had like some sort of mental decline. Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
I
don't know. It's kind of sad, but I hope he's making a ton of money and does enough that he doesn't have to do them anymore because it's kind of weird.
I saw, speaking of Pulp Fiction, I saw a tweet today where a guy said that he really appreciated Quentin Tarantino's work in Pulp Fiction because he made a subtle dig at the metric system. And he said that the guy probably doesn't like the metric system because it doesn't have feet.
Yeah, there's like supposedly he has like a weird obsession with feet.
Yeah,
and I didn't really think about it, and I realized like Kill Bill, there's tons of weird feet shots.
Yeah,
and then like the last movie he did, what was it? The Hollywood one about
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, Margot Robbie plays Sharon Tate goes in the movies barefoot.
Oh, okay.
And the camera like focuses on her fucking dirty ass feet, like because she's walking in there barefoot, literally in the theater. And I was just like, this is funny.
I saw Jackie Brown just like a month or two ago. It was a great movie.
Yeah, it's on like Netflix. I have to rewatch it. I only saw it once, and I just remember not liking it. And I think I didn't like it because like it was the first movie to come out after Pulp Fiction, and it wasn't Pulp Fiction
exactly,
and which is probably a good thing.
It was I loved the movie.
But I'm sure if I rewatch it, I'll probably like it now.
Well, if you rewatch it, you'll notice that right in the middle of it, there's like a 4-minute scene just of Bridget Fonda's feet. It's like,
are you kidding? Or
no, it's like there's a scene where she's like just in the background, but she's like in the middle, dead center of the screen, and the guys are talking around her, but the camera's just focused on her feet, and it's like for like an uncomfortably long period of time. So anyway, I thought it was a good metric system joke. It was a good.
Yeah, that is funny. That is, it works in many deep ways.
Yeah. All right. So the next thing we only got a couple things left, but the next thing we got Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan recently had Spotify pulled 70 episodes of his show.
Yeah, that's always I always try to making jokes saying that, like, as your new Joe Rogan, I promise you that Spotify won't have to remove 125 episodes. That's the Rob Israel difference.
Because he apparently used the N-word on 70 different episodes of his.
What I always found funny right from the start, when Spotify, like, did you guys ever watch his show?
Yes.
They bought him because he had like huge ratings, and they figured it would be a big cash cow. And then, like, before they even put him on Spotify, like officially, they had to remove like 100 episodes from the library that included guys like Adam McGinnis, Alex Jones. But he's had Alex Jones on a bunch of times since he's been on Spotify, so I don't think it matters. But there were just a full list of episodes, and I was like, that's a good sign, right? You made the right decision there. When the guy you hire, you have to remove like 15-20% of his fucking content from his library because it's filled with like fascistic right-wing Nazi shit. Like,
well,
and now you have to, and now when you say that, like, anytime the show, it says there's a disclaimer.
During anytime there's a show where he discusses the coronavirus, they have a disclaimer basically saying, like, don't listen to any of this shit. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh my god. And then the new one is because a video surfaced, which I've seen years ago. That video surfaced many times of him like telling this wacky joke of him going to Philly and, of course, making some derogatory racist shit about black people.
And I read this great article from a guy from NPR.
That's the typical Joe Rogan audience there.
Eric, I hope I'm pronouncing this guy's name right. Eric Deggans, maybe it's Deggans, I think. Anyway, he said that Joe Rogan has bigotry denial syndrome. And he's saying basically that, like, because Joe Rogan's big defense is like, look, previously, I believed that white people could use the N-word if they were speaking academically and not using it to denigrate people and not calling people that or whatever. So anyway, and Joe Rogan is like, I don't believe that anymore. And this guy, this columnist from NPR, is saying, like, I don't believe that. I think that you knew that the people you were talking to would think it's funny that you were saying this about black people.
That's exactly it.
And that's exactly it.
Like, Vic Berger had a funny video where he edited, like, I mean, you got to see it. I can't even. Mm-hmm. But he made this video. It's like really edited, but it's like him, Joe Rogan, relaying the story. This is that new video he put out.
Yeah.
And he said that he just finds it really funny that Joe Rogan has to, like, retell this story now to people who never heard it and are going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like he got set up in a way. It's kind of funny. It's but, like, I don't know. I just, like, there was all these people who say shit like, oh, if Spotify fires him, he will become more powerful than ever. Like, shit. No, he won't. He won't have that anymore. He'll have the humiliation that he's fired. He will just retreat even further to his right-wing audience even
Yeah.
further. Those are the people that are going to take, like Rumble or something came out and said they would give him $100 million to come to him.
Sure.
Like, you don't even
Like they
the
have
fucking
it.
money. Yeah, like they have. They said it would be over 4 years or something.
And it will also be in Rumble coffins.
Yeah,
Like,
Rumble bit or some bullshit. Yeah.
Rumtherium.
Rumtherium. Yeah.
Rum tug
Fucking
tugger.
NFT of a crypto coin. Like
Yeah.
it's not even and yeah, it was just really funny. And all these people like crying about him getting canceled and everything. But these are the same people who want to like take away library books all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is he's a right winger. I think that's the biggest issue that everyone has is that like when you watch Ben Shapiro, you know what you're dealing with. When you watch Rush Limbaugh, you know what you're dealing with. They were fucking right wingers. Joe Rogan, it's like he's still this like he's sold as this middle road guy, and he says things like that's crazy and all that, but he pushes a right wing narrative.
Yeah,
right wing show. Yeah, mostly right wing guests. Like somebody pulled up a list recently and showed the comparisons of left leaning or left versus like right wing. Well, right off the bat, half the people on the left were people that like just talk shit about Democrats all the time. Don't even say anything about right wingers, so they're useless. But then like Kevin Smith was one of them. I'm like, Kevin Smith? I mean, like, what? He's left leaning because he doesn't want to stone a gay kid or something? Like, how does that like? Yeah. He wants to redistribute the snoochie boochies.
Yeah, Kevin Smith is like a filmmaker who might lean liberal, sure. Like, but that's Kevin like saying
Smith doesn't have a left-leaning project.
Yeah, exactly. That's not his narrative. That's not his like.
That's not like, oh, I had Ben Shapiro on, Jordan Peterson on, Weinstein's, all these other right-wing shells. But it's all good because I had on Kevin Smith, and that just balanced out everything. And that's not fair to put on Kevin Smith's shoulder because he's probably like, I don't know shit. I just,
right.
I want everyone to see my movies and my crap, but like, I don't, like, I don't know. Don't put all the. I just thought that was ridiculous. I'm like, oh my, that's just hysterical. Yeah. Like, okay, if like Joe Rogan was this guy who would talk to everybody,
right?
Like he talks like Dan Crenshaw, and I don't like this guy anyway. Like I don't hate him, but like, why doesn't he talk to Pete Buttigieg?
Yeah,
like I don't think Pete Buttigieg is a representation of the left anyway, but like he's a Democrat, and he's like. Again, I consider him like in the same hemisphere as Dan Crenshaw. Why does he ever interview him? Why does he ever interview any of these people in the Democratic side ever? And I don't count like Crystal Ball or Jimmy Dore.
Right.
And like, okay, you interviewed like Bernie Sanders once. Okay, that's great. That was like 3 years ago. When are you going to interview like somebody who and fine, you can trap them and get them. Do what you think you can do. I don't. It's like it's a right wing show, and he pushes COVID misinformation.
Yep.
And if Spotify finally, musicians like, I think this was possibly the worst decision they probably ever made.
Oh yeah.
Because the thing of what Neil Young did, what was great was it like got people to pull the music, but it also open up the conversation. I'm like, hey, these guys don't pay them anything.
Yeah.
They pay musicians nothing. And the money they made, they decided to take a portion of that and hire this fucking anti-vaxxer right-wing shill $100 million. Like the thing is, like, if you're in a band, we were talking about this last week, and you brought up like, I don't even remember what band you brought up, but you said like they make like $30 a year lucky or whatever.
I forget the example, but yeah.
They're like, they probably have like 1 million downloads and they're making that little. And the thing too is that you gotta understand that I don't think people realize it's like people have a Spotify account and they can listen to any music they want to listen to all the time. It is a really good chance that they're not going to go out and buy the album or pay for a download of that album anymore.
Yeah.
So in a way, Spotify is hurting in some. I'm sure some people will say it's wrong. That's not true. That maybe there's a study that proves that people went out and bought music for the artist or whatever because they discovered it on Spotify. But I don't think that's the case. I think that's like people paying, either listen to Spotify for free or they're paying a subscription. They are getting their value out of it, and they're getting to listen to whatever music they want, depending on if the artist is there or not. And that's not money that's really going to the artist, really.
No.
Or not enough is going to the artist. It's like a very small cut. So I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's just funny having Joe Rogan having to like explain this embarrassingly racist thing he said.
It is, because he had kind of positioned himself to be a pretty reasonably well-liked celebrity. You know what I mean? Like, he had broad appeal, and a lot of people, if you remember him from his stand-up or Fear Factor or news radio, or pretty much a large sliver of the population probably had some exposure to him and thought of him at least neutrally, if not well. And then people really got to know him, and it turns out he's like a horrible frat bro douche.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Blown up to a level. I mean, like.
And if he had just kept in his lane, he probably would have coasted through life just fine and been a real happy person. But now he's like making videos talking about the 70 times he used the N-word, which is
the funny thing too is, like, in theory, we shouldn't even be talking about him, because he went to an exclusive deal on Spotify, and there's gonna be tons and tons of listeners, but his audience should be narrowing at that point. You're not getting. He's not on everything else. You have to get Spotify or listen to Spotify to listen to him. I mean, there's clips on YouTube and shit, but like. So it's like, what, you decided to become an idiot about COVID and stuff so that we talk about you all the fucking time?
Perhaps.
It's kind of like, I don't know. That's what it takes to be relevant. It's like Dave Chappelle. It's like Dave Chappelle, like, put out a bunch of comedy albums recently that weren't that good, but he attacked trans people. So people talk about him all the time. And now he's still part of the fucking conversation instead of just being a guy who's like not as funny as he used to be.
Did you see those videos of him today?
Yeah, I tweeted about that. It was
okay.
It was, let me see if I can pull it up, because I lumped those two together, Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle, and they're like buddies. They're all part of that same like group. Dave Chappelle like supported Andrew Yang. Did you see that tweet that Andrew Yang took down?
Yeah. I forget what it was, but I did see it. What is he?
Oh my God, it was something about like Joe Rogan has black friends or something.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Such a bizarre tweet. He deleted it, but it doesn't matter. Everyone saw it. It was like, let me see if it's like.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Dave Chappelle. I just want to say, and Marianne, I can talk to you about this privately. I don't know why the village council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they X out a $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. That's all. Thank you.
Well, for context on that, Dave Chappelle personally came to a city council meeting and threatened to remove his $65 million in investments from his city if they allowed a developer to move forward with an affordable housing program.
Yeah.
The objection wasn't to build, but the affordable housing component. And Chappelle, I guess, threatened to take all his money out.
Yeah.
Good guy. Well, I said, I tweeted it and I said, Chappelle continually goes after trans people, had terrible takes on COVID, and now this. I have a feeling this guy might just suck as a person.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm as someone who has a house or whatever, I like get the notion of like, I don't want low income housing opening up right next to me, but like, that's not, there's other answers than no, we can't have low income housing. You know,
it's a no-win situation, but you also like shouldn't be like a complete douche about it.
Right.
I feel like there's no good way to come out of it. Like,
yeah.
But this just kind of is kind of douchey.
Yeah, it is super douchey. Yeah.
And it's like he's using his power to kind of hurt people.
Yeah. No, to specifically hurt people. Yeah.
I don't know. You know, a lot of these like comedians over the years have proven to be kind of shitty people. Like,
yeah.
Did you see that Whitney Cummings?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, God. Let me see if I can find it. I made a bunch of jokes like making fun of.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. She was basically like comedians' jobs. The job of a comedian is to push boundaries.
I have it.
Okay.
Comedians did not sign up to be your hero. It is our job to be irreverent and dangerous, to question authority, take you through a spooky mental haunted house so you can arrive at your own conclusions. Stay focused on the people we pay taxes to be moral leaders. Mark Maron had a tweet that totally ratioed her, which was maybe add to be funny to the list. I tweeted, I wrote, this is the possibly funniest thing I ever read on here. What's the deal with taking you through a spooky mental haunted house so you can arrive at your own conclusion? A little Seinfeld there.
Yeah.
The job of comedian is to land a pilot, have a successful show, end said show, make a movie about bees, and then cry about college kids or some shit.
Yeah, that was real. Who was she defending with her original tweet? Was it Rogan?
I don't know. I feel like it's like a Rogan or any of those fucking people. I said a comedian's job is to tell us about a place in France where the naked ladies dance. If they don't tell us about the hole in the wall where the men could see it all, then gosh darn it, it's cancel culture. Here's a comedian's job is to tell us how tired their arms are flying from where they are living. They should also ask us to take their wife, but be polite about it. You know, take my wife.
Yes, take my wife, please.
The job of a comedian is to drop out of your show because of morale after scoring a large payday, disappear for a decade, and come back for a large payday where you just attack marginalized people.
Yeah, there you go.
That's your pal. I think I have like one more. The comedian's job is to learn magic tricks, use props, wear a headband, and do a ton of cocaine.
Yeah, nice.
That's the amazing Jonathan. That guy was awesome. And I think I might have one more. Oh, here we go. This is the last one.
Okay.
All right. My wife still listens to this podcast. Why do you read tweets? You like? The comedian's job is to tell us about the Dover siblings. Bend over, and I leaned over.
Nice.
Like just write all these old hack jokes. This is a comedian's job. Amend a spooky mental. Get the fuck out of here.
I used to like Whitney Cummings a lot, but like
she's all right. She's okay. I never really have an issue with her. I just thought that tweet was really funny. It's like one of those like stupid tweets that like she probably thought it was genius when she wrote it.
Probably. Yep.
Somebody had a great comic. Oh my god, I think I can find it. It's so fucking funny. Someone made a comment that, here we go. In reply to Whitney Cummings. Comedians at the club. So my friend keeps getting diarrhea from Taco Bell. And I'm like, what? Diarrhea? I mean, I usually just get a chalupa. That's my time. And then the next day, comedians on a podcast. Yeah, so we're like basically modern day philosophers and possibly the only people speaking truth to power in this era. The Taco Bell thing.
That's awesome.
That is ldecactus.com. Is the guy who made that? That is so fucking funny. Yeah, he's like his hands across. He's super serious. I love that joke about Taco Bell. Like, I usually just get the chalupa.
Well, I would caution anyone to jump to conclusions against the quality that you can find at Taco Bell.
Wow, blast. Flavor blast.
Your local Taco Bell, which has recently brought back the cheesy Fiesta potatoes, is
wow. Truly, everything's coming back.
Yes. Well,
everything's coming up.
Oh
man, what else would I say about it? I don't know. There's it's gonna always come up. I just think like again, I don't know. Let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Well, the next thing is our last thing. Actually, we were going to talk about cryptocurrency. We were going to talk about two things in particular. One was this Eric Andre NFT, which you were really excited about. I know you got your MetaMask wallet out, and you had lined up
I don't even know what that is.
Spare.
I'm gonna pay $1 billion on gas fees to get my free NFT. Well, it was like a joke, get your free NFT, but like,
right,
gas fee is like $1,000 or something crazy.
It's like when you win a car and the price is right, but you have to pay the tax on it or something. And then the next was a great story about these two, they're 30 something that just were arrested for laundering like over $3 billion worth of cryptocurrency. And it's real weird because the guy is like, he looks Russian. His name is Ilya Lichtenstein. He looks
a little bit like Elijah Wood.
He does. You said it looked like he just finished his mission.
He's Russian. Oh my God. And he's involved in a crypto scheme. Oh, wow.
Well, now I'm looking at Lichtenstein seems German, but Ilya sounds Russian. Anyway, and she's a delight. She's
bizarre.
She is a 30-something-year-old rapper, entrepreneur, motivational speaker.
Super weird. I watched some of those before we started talking, and
yes.
What's her name? Morgan?
Heather Morgan.
Heather Morgan. Just if you go on Twitter and you look at Heather Morgan, you're gonna see her videos come up. They are cringe as fuck. I don't like using the term cringe, but this is
no better word for it.
There's no better way to describe it. And people are making jokes like they're taking like a photo of the two characters from Ozark, the husband and wife, and then mixing with them. I'm not shocked that any of that happened. So basically, what they like try turning the crypto that they stole or whatever. Or
no, I think
money.
I read a bunch of articles about this today, and all of them seemed a little incomplete. But the best I can tell is that some anonymous guy stole like $4.5 billion worth of money from worth of cryptocurrency and got off with it. This is back in like 2016, 2015 or something. And then he had all this crypto, but he had no way to turn it into dollar bills. Because you can't tip the ladies crypto down at the old club, if you know what I mean. So
you don't make it rain crypto.
Can't make it rain crypto. So he hired these two. At the time, I guess they were kids. They were probably in their late 20s. He hired these two knuckleheads to launder it for him, and then he would basically.
Which is Ozark. Ozark is literally money laundering. That's like the show's about.
He would basically send them the crypto, and they would convert that crypto to cash, and then give him the cash, and they would keep a percentage of it as a profit, which is, I guess, the plot to Ozark,
with drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, what was that one guy's tweet that, man, it had something to do with like explain. All right, we'll get into that in a second. But I mean, it's probably going to see a lot more of these stories.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought that crypto would lead to such shady practices? Well, I'm shocked that the thing that was created to allow perverts to buy child porn undetected would lead to such unscrupulous actions. Yeah, there was a great comic I saw. Someone, my job showed me this like little, kind of like that comic I explained. It's a weird thing. Which is a weird thing that Taco Bell has on its menu, diarrhea. Like they just like, hey, cut out the middle, man. Diarrhea. Number 8. Here's the 8. I love the cheesy fiesta diarrhea. You just throw it in the toilet. You don't actually. So you get the virtual experience. It's like an NFT.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what to fucking say anymore.
You were talking about a tweet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it was a joke like a little political cartoon or whatever, but it was like one guy on one side and like the crypto guy on the other side. Guy on one side's like, I went to college, paid all this money, blah blah blah, I make like 55 or 60,000 a year. And then the next picture is this like really gross dude who's like, I invested in this crypto coin so that I could buy literally like child porn untraced. And now I'm worth millions of dollars.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, it wasn't like the whole thing about crypto. Like, was it like the dark web? Like,
well, that's where it got real popularized, was on a website. I think it was called the Silk Road, which you had to get on the dark web. And yeah, you could purchase things like drugs and pornography and all sorts of terrible shit.
Yeah, I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked that the people that are heavily pushing in have like weird loose morals or usually tend to be more libertarian.
Yeah, I think all that's fair to say about crypto in general. Even though I am a believer in crypto, I think that this is basically a story that could have worked without crypto, because like if someone comes to you and says, hey, here's an envelope with $1,000, go change it into a different denomination at the bank and I'll give you some, but I can't go in the bank myself. You should know fucking something's up, right? Like you should, like when my wife and I were in Paris once, and she wanted to go to the Louis Vuitton store. They make handbags or whatever. So we go into the Louis Vuitton store, and shortly before we go in, just like in fucking Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, some guy comes out of the bushes and says to me, if I give you money, will you buy me a Louis Vuitton purse? And he had the money right there. And the store is weird. Like you have to enter in with an escort. And they escort you out. So he knew he'd see me coming out, and I said no. And I don't know why I said no. I can't imagine what would have been illegal about that. But like something told me that
it sounds super shady.
It sounds shady as fuck.
You're in a foreign country. The guy knows that you're not from there.
Yeah. He's
setting you up for something.
Of course,
bad.
Something is amiss, like.
Well, did you have to give him money in exchange or anything?
I have no idea. He was going to it was a older Japanese guy, and he looked perfectly legit, well dressed, well spoken. He came up to me, offered me money. He said this is gonna be more than enough to buy the bag. You just have to buy the bag and give it to me. Had a little paper with the bag on it, and I said no thanks, and he said sorry to bother you, and that was it. It was very non-pressure transaction.
You missed out on having a new friend.
Could have been, but like, come on. So like, my story is that when someone cornered Heather Morgan and Ilyan Jovovich or whatever his name is, and said, "Look, I need you to take this $3.5 billion." Their little bullshit detectors should have gone up too, just like mine did.
Or maybe they just fully were aware what they were doing the whole time.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the case.
They were aware.
Yeah, but this is the thing that makes it so bizarre about it is these videos, like they are perfect for like a movie to be made.
Yeah,
because this girl is so bizarre that they can get like whatever current actress to play her and do the rapping and all this shit. It is such a character.
Yeah.
Not in a good way. Like she's annoying as fuck.
No, it reminds me of like an Amy Poehler character. Amy
this is awful. Like not even like Amy Schumer or something. I can't even describe it. It's like this girl has like she thinks she is cool and hot as shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the guy made any videos. He just looks like like I said, he just looks like a Elijah Wood. He came out of Elijah Wood's ass or something. But the girl is like, that's a level of confidence that most people do not.
Oh yeah, no, she is a boss babe,
But it's super weird. You're doing all this, but you're also like a crypto hustler and and you're also doing a massive money laundering scheme. Probably done several of them. This is probably the first one.
Oh yeah. They rarely catch you on the first time.
Factory. All the people that work on our videos also have to work on our fucking crypto scheme. Like now that we're done filming my rap video.
Yeah.
Let's get to work, guys. This is what it was. Now that we had fun filming my video, they're like, wait, that was fun. Well, speaking of fun, NFTs.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Well, I mean, not the fun part. So Eric Andre is, you know who he is? He's been in lots of stuff. He's on Disenchantment. He does the voice of one of the characters. He's a pretty big actor. There's a funny movie he did recently on Netflix, kind of like a Jackass movie. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Him and this other guy get their dick stuck in a Chinese finger trap. Their penises are stuck and they have to walk out. It's like the fucking funniest thing. It's
He
like
was
a
in
fucking finger trap, Chinese finger trap for their dicks.
I'm looking here. He was in Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
That's what I was thinking of. He was.
Yeah.
I knew he was in some show. Like
he's been in a lot of stuff. The Eric Andre show is like an Adult Swim show where it's like a weird, like Andy Kaufman-esque type show where it's like him and I forgot the guy's name who's like his sidekick. But it was super weird. And he would do like things where he goes on the street, man on the street type stuff, but it's all like crazy gags and stuff. The guy's like, his whole thing is like whatever. And he's like perfect for that like whole culture, like of Adult Swim.
Right.
But like, he sells he's been part of NFTs or whatever, right? Like who cares? And like a lot of these fucking celebrities they don't give a shit. Some of them like they don't really even have a choice. It's like could be under their fucking contract. Like, yeah, you want to get paid a ton of money. Well, Adult Swim's selling fucking NFTs, you know, and he's gonna be like, I don't give a shit, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like he's dealing with it, pulling out a digital, I have to go create a digital wallet.
He's not driving the car. Yeah.
They're taking that shit, they're taking care of that for him, you know? But you know, a lot of stuff over time, it's more and more stuff comes out about NFTs and like they're a fucking scam. You know, were sold years ago or a year ago. I was told about them. I had people hit me up about putting my stuff on the blockchain, and I was for years. They're like, "Hey, you can put it on there, you can make a ton of money."
Sure.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I looked into it. It involved like if there's like 30 steps to do something that should just be one step. I don't want to do it. Like it should take 2 seconds to put an artist to put an NFT up. Like you shouldn't have to create a digital wallet. You shouldn't have to do this. You shouldn't have to pay for gas fees. You shouldn't have to pay any of that. It's like, here you go, putting it up.
Right.
Go buy your fucking JPEG. But it's like there's so many fucking components involved. How could it not be shady? How could it not be so easy for some fucking hacker to come in, steal your fucking wallet? You know, happens all the time. But one of the big things that they sold to the artists was they said that like you'll collect royalties, and it's genius because it plays on the grievances that a lot of artists have. You know, the whole concept of like, oh, like I'll always I'll sell it, but I'll always get a piece of that even after I sell it. Like if it gets purchased, like I'm gonna get 10% of that. And so like if I sell an NFT for like I don't even fuck 0.01 ETH or whatever,
right,
and then it sells for 2 ETH, I'm gonna get part of that. I'm gonna make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, in perpetuity, you should always get a piece of it.
Right, but
in
it's
theory,
proven that a lot of these scumbags out there have learned to remove the royalty part.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that was a long time ago. I heard about that. I don't know. I know some artists who been very successful at it, but I feel like they also had the mechanism in place. They probably didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
They had people that could set them up, but it doesn't even matter. I don't like them. I think they're dumb. I don't like I think like you're not going to convince me that it has any utility whatsoever. In the end of the day, yeah, like can you like I bought this NFT and I printed it out and made a poster. I'm like, okay, I could do that with a file.
Yeah.
Like I could sell you a file, a decent sized file, so you could go print a poster and you won't have to be involved with like some crypto coin that you don't understand.
Right.
If that's all you really care about. No, the reality is that people want these things because there is a chance that there's a golden goose involved.
Yeah.
And the joke is all these crypto bros and NFT bros and all these people who talk this shit up and try to make it sound like it's this great thing. They always say horrible shit about like about banks, and which I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
Or they'll say something like, oh, you still use fiat currency. But the whole joke is that the thing that makes crypto attractive is the fact that it grows exponentially, or it has the potential to grow exponentially in value, but that value is based on fiat currency.
Yeah, it's all measured by fiat.
So like, that's like the big joke. It's like hypocritical. It's like, and then I don't know. It's just like ridiculous. I don't think an artist should have to like be forced to use something that just sounds super shady. I don't know, whatever. But the point being was Eric Andre, who people come out and talk shit and said, like a lot of celebrities have learned not to do it. Even one person learned maybe now was not the time to do a NFT.
Right.
You know who that person was?
Who?
Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm not even joking. He put out like somebody, oh my God, I wish I gotta find the tweet, but he's like, hey, I'm gonna put out an NFT. And this one guy wrote, you know what? I was fine with you killing two people, but NFTs is where you lose me, buddy. And then shortly after, like, or covered out a tweet out, I've learned a lot from this, and I'll say that now is not the time to put one out. It was very funny. It was like that little weird murdered people. Very straight. It was great too because it was like stone toss. Like there's like someone took a screenshot. It was like Conor Ness talking about putting out an NFT, and then Stone Toss, who's this like literal Nazi cartoon. He puts out these awful cartoon, like literally Stone Toss. It's like old Nazi propaganda. It's old extreme right wing.
Right.
It's disgusting. Of course, you're gonna be shocked. That guy sells NFTs, and he told Kyle Rittenhouse he would help him.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Get NFTs, and I thought that was great because it was just like, wow, it's just like
that's funny,
like peanut butter and jelly, just peanut butter and peanut butter, peanut butter and crunchy peanut butter, you know, coming together, being peanut butter. Eric Andre tweets, "What's up?" I'm not even gonna do an impression. What's up, normal peeps and 14-year-old environmental hypocrite trolls that use gasoline in cars that they drive and planes they fly and throw away AA batteries every month. I guess that he was trying to be funny.
Yeah, probably.
That's a thing that, like, if you say anything bad about NFTs, which I've come out and said things bad about NFTs. I've had NFT people come after me and say things. They'll use like verbiage, like rhetoric, like him, but I mean he's trying to be funny about it.
Yeah, I think so.
It would be funny if like he hated NFTs and then he's like now playing the character of a guy who defends NFTs by using this stupid argument of like, I wrote Eric Andre's defense for hawking NFTs was old the day it started. People need everything he mentions to participate in modern society. Absolutely no one needs NFTs.
Yeah.
For me, this tweet blew up a bit. I had some people, one guy write the stupidest thing about like traveling on a plane and everything. I'm like, wait, you're ruining the earth more traveling on a plane than you're buying the NFT. It's like, I mean, okay, so modern amenities, like that stuff that was built over this past century, like cars, planes, and technology in general.
Yeah.
They've found ways to make these things, wish more pressure was applied and sped up. To take these necessary utilities that we, as in our lifetime, I mean, we lived during this lifetime.
Right.
We didn't grow up in the 1800s and then got a car for the last 10 years and we're like, oh my God, my mind is blown by moving 20 miles an hour. I could get from one town to the next in 4 hours instead of 3 weeks.
Through sorcery.
Yeah, like we have lived through this. So this is our life.
Yeah.
All these things that Eric Andre, first of all, it's so stupid. Yeah, 14-year-old driving car. It's like, shut up. He's being dumb. But like all these amenities that we all use in a modern society because we all live in a modern society.
Right.
I would imagine if you're getting NFTs, you live in a modern society.
Yeah, you would have to. Sure.
You have some components that you need. there's ways to improve on those things. You can, the newer ACs, less energy. There's new ways that, to get those minor amenities with less carbon footprint involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, those are all utilities you need if you want to, enjoy your modern, your life in general, because that's what you know. You don't need NFTs.
No, not at all.
Even if you claim that they're not bad for the environment, who gives a shit?
Well, they don't even make your life easier. Never mind what you need. They don't even make your life appreciably better in any way.
Stress because now you have to worry about like some fucking scammer coming in and taking your stealing your wallet, or if you lose your password, aren't you like fucked? You don't get any of this shit.
Yeah.
Isn't that like the biggest joke about crypto? Is like there's so many of these people who lost their passwords.
Yeah, there's a significant number, and then you're just out of luck.
Well, like I said, I've heard that lame excuse people use. Oh, you go on Facebook, you use Netflix. Like, yeah. What's your point?
Yeah.
Like, wait, buying a JPEG and hoping that I can invest in and try to sell it, or dump it on someone else. A game of hot potato, which is what it is. Yeah, it's such an odd, like,
it is an odd,
it's a weak argument. And my favorite is like this one guy who's like, I had to like block him because he just, every time I mentioned like NFT, he came on my page and just like irritated me. But he would say I was gatekeeping, which I think is hysterical. I'm like, gatekeeping what? Who?
Again, that's an odd accusation.
Like, I'm not if anything, I'm in the minority here. Most of the artists that I follow have all fallen for this NFT bullshit. Almost all of them. Like, it's kind of depressing. Like, I don't get it. I mean, this one guy, I think a lot of them, though, they're getting taken advantage. Like, they're not even making it, or they're getting told like they're getting one, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I do think there's a lot of weirdness there where people don't even understand if they technically own it or if it. I mean,
galleries. Yeah. Like, this is one artist that I talked to, and he's like, I made more in this and I did 5 paintings or something, but it's like, but he didn't get the full value. You know what I mean? It was like done through I don't know. It's just funny because like the biggest NFT out there right now is those awful Bored Apes. Yep. And the joke is that the woman who made it initially, it was a work for hire job and doesn't even get like the percentage, which is just a farce because it just shows you that NFTs are not this thing that they try to sell it to artists as. It's like, again, it's like you use those grievances that people have.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's how scammers work. That's how cults work. That's how religions work. They use grievances in your life to get you to do something stupid
against other people. Yeah.
Yeah, like or just against your better judgment. Like, hey, this thing is good. This, isn't it suck how like you did that job and those companies made like hundreds of thousands off the 500 they paid you or something.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, or if you get like, and any asshole can take your image and make an NFT out of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been done. I know it's been done to me at least once. The funny thing is, I did an artwork recently of says "No fucking thanks."
Yeah,
it's one of those Bored Apes,
right?
Similar drawing to my Hitler drawing I did years ago, where the top of the 420 blown off, and there's just the eyeballs like sitting on the empty spot. For Hitler, happy 420, and the smoke coming out of the monkey's brain. It says "No fucking thanks." Forms of that.
Yeah.
And my favorite was I posted someone wrote, "Oh man, you should make an NFT of that." And I'm like, yeah, I probably there was one. Clearly, this is the one that should have been one, but
yeah,
I'm sure some asshole has already stolen it. And
probably.
I mean, I've had artwork stolen for years. I had my shit show up on Wish.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like in Alibaba. I found it on there. I found it on all kinds of things. I found it in like. People showed it to me. They found it in like head shops around the world. Nothing I could do about it. I mean, like, get a lawyer. Okay, I'll get a lawyer.
Yeah, you'd spend your whole life doing that then,
It's like, but it's like, this is on a grosser level. to me. This NFT, like at least it's like, hey, I've had people reach out to me like, "Oh, it's so awesome that I got this 3D print that you did," and I'm like, I did not make that.
Right.
And then those people would like feel bad and they would buy something from me. Like, let me get something from you directly. He's like, I thought I was getting you something. I'm like, no, dude.
Oh shit.
What a fucking bootleg. Like some asshole probably charge you more than I would charge you.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't hate. I like Eric Andre. I mean, like I enjoy him as an actor, but I thought that was like kind of a piece of shit thing to say. I mean, it's not even a piece of shit. It's more just like, it's just dumb.
It's dumb.
It's just dumb. It's like, come on, you're not like. It's like it'd be funnier if he hated the NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be like, oh, this is hysterical.
It's a good bit, yeah.
He's doing a bit, but it's like, no, you're trying to do a bit, but you're also selling them. Whatever. All right. Well, anything else, Joseph?
I think we're good.
Did we take our audience through a spooky? What is it?
A mental maze.
A mental. Oh man, I should have this ready to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we did.
We took them through a spooky maze or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We led them there.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you come to your own conclusion?
Oh, certainly.
Oh wait. Well, good. Then that's been achieved, and we did our job. David Cross had a great tweet the next day. He tweeted, "I signed up to be your hero."
Nice.
There's so many parodies.
Oh shit.
All right. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.